Welcome to our stream, Johnny Turbo. The first person to say anything so far. Hey. So do you have pairings?
I do have pairs.
Nice.
I think we're about ready to get started. Have you been streaming without me?
Yeah, we just started. Thanks, Sydney. What? Oh, nice. Alright. Sweet. Alright, let's get our player name. So who is Mark playing against?
We were doing McManus.
Yeah.
McManus versus Hoffman. Andrew Hoffman. Okay.
So, oh,
so did we tell them that they're on the?
What about Cole? Do you have Cole's or? Okay.
So
what about John's other one? He won last week too.
Right.
Yeah, let's have it.
So we're getting down to the feature match table.
Nice. Thanks. You too. Are you playing? You're playing? Oh, cool. So do we just want to figure out what he's playing?
I already talked to Hoffman, and let's see what he is playing. He's on Jeskai Control.
All right. Can I see? Oh, can I see the pairings?
Yeah, of course.
Does not tell you how many players we have?
So
looks like
we should have
28. 14 and no buys. Yeah, we have 28 players tonight at Magic Card Market or MTG Card Market.
We're already streaming. We're good.
Yeah, we are streaming.
All right.
We are live from MTG Card Market, downtown Chicago, Illinois.
Hi guys, I'm Raul Moat.
My name's Mason Linney.
And we're looking forward to some 4 rounds of modern action here at MTG Card Market. Hope you guys are as excited as we are. We're going to start off today with Andrew Hoffman versus Mark McManus.
This should be interesting. I took a look at what Mark was playing. I assume you saw it too. It's going to be an interesting match, to say the least. I don't know what it's going to do, but it's going to be interesting.
We definitely have some different archetypes for this first match.
All right, so let's take it to the players.
So we've got Andrew Hoffman and Mark McManus. Basically Hoffman is going to be on blue, white, red control. He's got things like a Johnny Vengeant going on, some counterspell action going on. And Muddy Waters isn't just a blues musician. It's what Mark McManus is rocking today, which is a deck that looks to go big with various things like Grand Architect and the Canonist. I'm sorry, not the Canonist, but the Architect. I'm spacing on that card.
I can't think of any of the cards in his deck, honestly, because I've never seen them played. I know he's trying to get Worm Coils out and the Angel that says you can't lose the game.
Big Plats.
Platinum Angels. I think like Blightsteel Colossus even.
Blightsteel Colossus is
Steel
definitely a
Hellkites,
thing.
like-
Why don't we pull up some of those cards rather than Dingus?
Sure.
Which is definitely
Which
not.
is my favorite card ever printed.
It is not in Mark's deck, however. So
That is true, as it is not legal in the modern format. So here's a Blightsteel Colossus, which I'm pretty sure I saw in his deck. I can't imagine Andrew has too many ways of dealing with that, save counterspelling it or Path to Exile.
yeah, but Path's probably a 4 of in Andrew's list. I didn't take a close look at everything he's playing, but he has it. Johnny Turbo asks if it's artifact stacks. I wouldn't say it's so much stacks because there's not really the component of slowing down the opponent. It's just a let's ramp out through. Vidalcan Engineer is the card that I was trying to think of earlier, and Grand Architect. Let's try to roll out an artifact fatty and see if you can deal with it, and then if you can, hopefully I'll get to roll out another one. So here we go. Mason, do you know who's on the play here?
It looks like Andrew's on the play. I'm just guessing because he picked his hand up first. Yeah, so Andrew is on the play.
He starts off with what I think is a Celestial Colonnade. I know he's playing some of those. And so far it's a little draw go action. Mark has Cavern of Souls out. I assume that is... I'm not sure what that's going to be naming. Maybe we can pop out and find out, but it looks like he has stuck a engineer, is that, or...
I'm gonna have to go take a look at what card that is.
All right, and see if you can find out what he named with Cavern. Mark's pretty happy about it. He's doing a little dance. Meanwhile, Andrew takes the time to do some fetching off of his turn. So he's got access to the whole red, white, blue, and he's going to shock, or in this case, lightning bolt that card. So here comes Andrew with his draw. And he drew a Sphinx's Revelation, so he's got to be happy about that.
Alright, so that card was an Ethereum Sculptor, and the land is naming Artificer.
Okay, so there is another Sculptor, and there's another Lightning Bolt. So right now Andrew's deck seems to be performing pretty optimally. Mark with a 4-drop. He cited his trigger. And he's got Master Transmuter out. Snapcaster on Bolt is going to stop the shenanigans before they start. And Snapcaster is going to get some beats on as well. That's going to put McManus down to 18. Andrew looking at some options. It looks like he's got a Cryptic in hand. He also has Sphinx's Rev. So it seems like he's in pretty good shape. He also has Electrolyze. So if I could customize a 3-card hand in Jeskai control, probably would involve some sort of permutation of those 3. Passes a turn over to Mark. Mark lays out Grand Architect. Grand Architect is probably not long for this world either, but it does have a 1/3, so you can't just electrolyze it to get rid of it. Andrew untaps, he draws, he lays down another, looks to be Scalding Tarn, and he may just pass here and go for a Sphinx's Rev, or just keep his Cryptic mana up. We'll see what he does. McManus with a draw. He's got a lot of mana just naturally, and he also has Grand Architect to add another couple. He lays down Fairy Conclave. Looking over his hand, trying to figure out what the play is here. And it looks like he's put out Vidalcan Engineer. Vidalcan Engineer plus Grand Architect means up to 6 mana for artifact creatures because you can tap it using Grand Architect's ability. So this could be a worm. This is looking to be a Steel Hellkite. Steel Hellkite is going to meet with a Cryptic command, and it's going to be bounce my Snappy and counter your spell.
Yeah, that's certainly a way to deal with some of those creatures. Is now we can Snap Bolt again.
So looks like it's a Hallowed Fountain that's set out for Hoffman. And is he gonna just? He's just gonna.
Oh, and there was the internet. Okay, cool. We're good.
All right. Life totals right here. Do you remember?
I'm at 7.
I'll just come check.
Yeah. I believe I might actually be at 15.
Hello. We seem to have solved our technical difficulties, so we're gonna get this match restarted in a very short order. We're just checking out what the life totals are and where we are in the turn, and we'll have all that for you in a moment. Sorry about the many technical difficulties. So Mason.
All right, they're at 17 all.
17 all. So we're gonna update those life titles. Chat folks, I hope you are getting us back. If you try refreshing, hopefully you will find us and we can get back to this match. So let's pick up where we are. So here's Mark. He's trying to figure out what to do here. He's got 2 mana tapped. It looks like he's rethinking that. He animates Fairy Conclave. Here comes Fairy Conclave to fly over for 2. And he was thinking about sending Grand Architect, but I wouldn't have liked that play.
That does trade with the Snapcaster Mage.
Well, it doesn't trade because it's a 1/3, but there's lots of stuff that he could have in hand. So Hoffman takes 2. He should be at 15, and looks he goes for a Sphinx's Rev for 4 at EOT. So that brings him back up to 19.
And also drawing 4 cards, not negligible.
Oh, for sure. Getting a refill of the old premium is something that every American Control type player is going to want to do. So he draws, and he's now got a Johnny in hand, does Andrew Hoffman. I'm wondering if he's going to go for that or what he's going to go. First he lays out what looks to be a Celestial Colonnade. He's shuffling, and that tap for 4, I would think he's going for a Johnny here. But
now, do you think he's going up or down on this Johnny?
I think he wants to get rid of Grand Architect. That's what I would do.
That's also my suspicion.
And so let's see how... And that's exactly the play for him. So Johnny's just at 1, but there's Snapcaster to jump in front of any attacker that he might have. There's Wall of Omens to draw him a card. But I would think that if I'm McManus, I'm animating Colonnade and sending it straight at a Johnny. I don't know if Hoffman's got a play for that. He only has 1 mana up. He's used a couple bolts already and even flashed them back. So I'm not sure. He could have a path. And that is Judge's Familiar. That
very beautiful promo Judge's Familiar at that.
It's interesting because Hoffman only has 2 mana up, so that Judge's Familiar could prove painful, at least at this moment. McManus does send Fairy Conclave into Johnny to take a Johnny out, and here Hoffman is with his draw. He's got a mana leak now. Again, looking through his options, mana leak, electrolyze, looking at a couple other cards. But he passes, and here comes Sundering Titan. Sundering Titan, that could be painful because I think Island gets rid of one of the steam vents or
does he actually have he actually doesn't have a steam vents. He has to blow up his own island?
No, isn't that steam vents?
That's a sulfur falls.
That's a sulfur falls. Okay,
yeah.
well.
He has a hollowed fountain. Okay.
He has a hollowed fountain.
But it gets mana leaked anyways, so.
Well, it's just not meant to be for that. Electrolyze takes out his 2 remaining creatures and forces Hoffman to pay 1.
Can pay 1 more.
Which he does to get rid of those guys and draw a card. And so it doesn't look like McManus has but one or so cards left in the hand, whereas Hoffman's got a pretty full grip. He's going to beat on in with Snapcaster, bringing McManus down to 15.
Yeah, it looks like Hoffman was able to deal with all of McManus's threats 1 for 1, which is really what the American control strategy, or Jeskai control strategy is trying to do, and then end with finishers like Colonnade, and looks like it's done its job so far.
So, hardcasting old Wormcoil, that leads to Snapcaster on being rebought with Resto and Cryptic Command, which is pretty brutal. Modes are counter draw, it appears.
2 best modes on Cryptic Command.
I am a fan of all 4 modes. All those modes can be useful from situation to situation. So, with Resto and Snapcaster on the attack, that's going to put McManus down to 10, and dwindling on some hope. He's got 2 cards in hand. Hoffman's got a lot of mana up, and at least one of those you would think is a counterspell. We can see he's got Spell Snare. He lets Treasure Mage through because there's no way that whatever McManus gets with Treasure Mage is going to actually be cast in the face of. He's got Snapcaster for perhaps another counterspell in the yard. If
he still has a mana leak in the yard. And what is that?
I'm guessing that is a Steel Hellkite, but I could be wrong about that. It could be a promo one, or it could be a different card altogether.
It doesn't look like a creature, actually. Oh. We've missed it at this point. Oh, well. Well,
next turn he may try to land that, and it's going to be even harder with Tech Edge taking out Fairy Conclave. So he's not even on 6 mana right now as Mark McManus, and he doesn't have any of the accelerants, at least on the battlefield. Maybe he'll rip one or has one in hand. So Hoffman lays down land. I would think that he's going to animate a Colonnade here.
Yeah.
Swing with his 2 flyers. No particular reason to just run Snapcaster into Treasure Mage.
Yeah, and things aren't looking too good for Mark here. Andrew seems to have a slew of answers still, and Mark is really out of gas.
Yep, and that's going to be a 3 from the Angel and 4 from the Colony. That's going to put him to a mere 3, and I don't know if there's a card in Muddy Waters that is going to help out. Mark agrees.
Looks like that's the case.
And he scoops. So now we've got Hoffman up 1-0. And they're going to be thinking about their sideboard options. And we talked to Mark a little before when we were setting up the stream, and he was looking at different sideboard options. I'm not even sure what he might have for this matchup, though.
Yeah, well, I know he was playing Elixir of Immortality. That might be something that you want against Control if the game is just going really long. Gets your threats back in your library, gains you a little life if they're trying to race you with Snapcasters and Bolts. He could actually probably reasonably bring in a Torpor Orb here. considering that every single one of Hoffman's creatures have enter the battlefield triggers that he really wants to use.
Yeah, look at Hoffman. He's thinking about a couple. He's thinking about bringing wear and tear, it seems like. And
Yeah, wouldn't be surprised to see wear and tears out of the board for Hoffman.
But no, he's gonna leave us out. You can't take Cryptic Command out, Hoffman. It's just too good. Too good. But he does seem to be in a dilemma as to what to take out if he's going to try to bring in something like Wear and Tear. Oh, he's also looking at Vidalcan Shackles.
Vidalcan Shackles could be the real deal.
That's a sweet card. But he
that up.
looks like he also has Stony Silence that he was thinking about. In the end, he's got 3 Cryptic Commands that he's going to...
Like Gideon out. Oh, it looks like Spell Snares that he's taking out, which makes sense because we didn't see a whole lot of 2 CMC spells out of Mark's deck.
Yeah, okay, I like that much better than obviously Cryptic. It looked like Cryptic for a second.
I think he might have taken out 1 Cryptic, and at least 2 Spell Snares.
All right, so I would assume, Mason, that Mark is going to take the play here.
I would have to assume the same thing. This isn't, Legacy Manaless Dredge. So we'll see what happens game 2. We'll see if sideboarding strategies are enough and the play is enough to push Mark's strategy forward and take a game off of Andrew here.
Yeah, he's got to be looking for different ways to try and get back into this match, but how do you keep yourself from being demoralized after just having every single one of your answers, your threats answered or killed within a turn?
Honestly, it's kind of something that I can relate to as an Affinity player. If you're playing against Control, it seems like every turn they're electrolyzing 2 of your guys, 2 for 1 of you, or they get their Stony Silence, and it's kind of tough, but you just got to go on a game-by-game basis. You know what your deck does better than anyone else, and you know your strengths, and you just got to hope that the next games you get to see your deck at its best.
So a couple people in the chat are asking what exactly is Muddy Waters, and that's the nickname that Mark gave his deck. Basically, what it involves is it's Muddy Waters because it's blue-black, and it is using cards like Grand Architect and Vidalcan Engineer and so forth to try to power out big artifacts like Mindslaver and Wormcoil Engine, Sundering Titan to try and get there, present threats for your opponent early on. Game 1, we saw Mark McManus wasn't too successful sticking any of those big artifact threats. Andrew Hoffman tended to have either control in hand or bought back in his graveyard thanks to the magic of Snapcaster. But here it's not looking great. Both these guys are going to go down to 6. And who do you think having to take that mulligan favors more, Mason?
That's a tough question. I think that if Mark has a really strong 6, that it could be hard for Andrew to deal with, just given that he might not hit the exact right cards to deal with these threats that Mark is presenting. But I kind of got a feel that Andrew Hoffman's deck is a little more consistent, and he's drawing an extra card here since he's on the draw. So I don't know. I'm not sure who this benefits more, really.
The thing about Andrew Hoffman's deck is that so many cards are going to give him card advantage to sort of overcome the having to go down to 6. He's got various electrolyzes. He's got cryptics. He's of course got the big granddaddy of all card advantage spells in Sphinx's Revelation in his deck. So, he's not going to want to go down past 6, obviously, because if he gets off to a slow start, then it may be curtains for him.
And some people in the chat are asking what exactly Muddy Waters is. It's APOC SR2N is asking if it's sort of like Tron, and I guess you could sort of call it like Tron. It's not like Mono Blue Tron, which is trying to play more of a control game. It's really trying to ramp out these artifact threats. So in a sense, it's almost a little bit more like Mono Green Tron. But yeah, again, without those Tron lands.
So here, our first substance play is the Ethereum Sculptor for McManus, and meanwhile Hoffman, it looks like, is searching out a land, so he should be at 19, I believe. And here comes a lightning bolt to end that guy's party early on.
So Ethereum Sculptor will be reducing no artifacts mana costs, unfortunately for Mark.
Alright, so there's a colony pass. Here is Vidalcan Engineer. And I would think that Mark feels a little encouraged that there was not a snap kill by another bolt or some such. And in fact, it lives to see Mark's turn. Let's see what it can power out. It can add 2 mana of any color for artifact spells, and there comes a sideboarded Torpor Orb.
Yeah, and this Torpor Orb could actually mean pretty serious business for Mark if Andrew has a hand full of like Snapcasters and like Wall of Omens. That Torpor Orb is going to be doing a lot of work.
Flooded Strand goes to the graveyard for Hoffman, putting him to 18 and allowing him to fetch out an island.
We'll be seeing an Electrolyze.
And the Electrolyze is
Like it.
going to be played back with a
and
negate.
negated.
But here's Hoffman's turn. Does he have removal for Mr. Engineer? He seems like he has more than a few lands in hand. There looks to be a Supreme Verdict also in hand. Beats.
Wow, getting in with the Vidalcan Engineer.
So you're on 17, Mr. Hoffman.
And going down to 16 here.
Yeah, the Engineer gets revenge for that attempt to electrolyze him by bringing the pain 1 point at a time. Which, again, if you're Andrew Hoffman, you probably are happy to see him swinging for damage as opposed to powering out one of the many 5 or 6 or 7 drops that Mark McManus probably has in his deck.
Well, it looks like Mark is switching to the old lands in front. Oh, now he's switching to lands on the side. Just keeping things fresh.
So Mark doing a little contemplation as to what the best move might be for him. He's bringing the beats once again with Vidalcan Engineer, bringing Hoffman down to 15. And another fetch with Flood and Strand brings him down to 14. And that's going to get a Steam Vents. That's going to be tapped.
So it looks like Andrew is actually, building a pretty solid mana base, while Mark is almost a bit behind.
Yeah, he's missed, looks like, three land drops, so he's doing the best he can with what he's got. But, at any time, Andrew can pull the trigger on something big now with 6 mana. He's not going to spend a Supreme Verdict on just a lonely Vidalcan Engineer. But now here comes Master Transmuter, and that counter spell is going to be unleashed in form of Cryptic Command. Looks like he's do you bounce draw, or I'm sorry, counter draw, or
yeah, it looks like counter draw there. And that was pretty big for Andrew. It looks like Mark probably has some pretty big artifacts in his hand. Otherwise, I don't know what else he has in hand. So So that Master Transmuter could have been doing some serious work.
I think if I were Andrew, I would have just Cryptic. I would have let it resolve in Cryptic, but you know, it's again easy from the safety of the booth to think about other possible
you're saying
warrants.
he lets the Master Transmuter resolve?
He was tapped out to play Master Transmuter, and you know, what else is he? They pointed out that Torpor Orb is not a good friend for Treasure Mage.
That's true.
So he'll enjoy that 2/2, and Hoffman will enjoy 1 more point of beatdown, possibly 3 points if he doesn't take some action here in a little bit.
HC Fox Legacy will be tomorrow night. So, Modern Wednesdays, Legacy Thursdays, and also Mondays. I don't know if those are streamed, though. I think they're streamed.
So, that's looking like the gods were a little bit angry with what was going on.
The good old 2-for-1 action there.
And you know, without the mana ramp, but that's a chief engineer. Which is slightly different if you want to pull that card up. That's the game day version of chief engineer that Mark McManus has deployed.
So that gives all of your artifact spells Convoke, which means you can tap a creature you control instead of paying either 1 mana, 1 colorless mana, or 1 mana of that creature's color. So it's essentially giving him 1 mana now.
Alright, so we've got Grand Architect online. That's a favorite of cards like a favorite card of decks like Mark's Mighty Waters.
Yeah, and this Grand Architect's actually doing a little bit more than the Chief Engineer because it allows the Chief Engineer to add 2 mana instead of 1.
I'm not sure though if it's resolving. Andrew's seems to be thinking,
yeah,
but then he decided it's time for a big old Sphinx's Rev.
All right, that is for 5. It looks like
that it does. So he's laying out those 5 cards, gaining 5 life, and like one would think that that's going to start to turn things pretty hardcore in Andrew's favor. Now he's got plenty of mana, plenty of cards, plenty of life, and if I'm him, I straight up deploy. I believe he's got a Supreme Verdict, and that's exactly what he does.
it looks like Andrew is in the same mindset as you. He's pointing to the Torpor Orb, but fortunately that does not do anything against that Supreme Verdict.
So let's see how McManus responds to having his creatures wiped. Here comes another Treasure Mage as a 2/2, and wow, Snapcaster. He's not even going to let this 2/2 resolve.
The Snapcaster, of course, does not do anything other than what an Ambush Viper would be doing.
Yeah, at least an Ambush Viper has Death Touch, but I think Mark is glad that there's not going to be some flashback action from one of the various instants or sorceries that Hoffman's got already in the graveyard.
Mark's spreading out his permanents. He's defending against Chaos Orb, I believe.
I think we could see the world's saddest Restoration Angel here if Mark should attack with his 2/2 just to flash out a blocker and get rid of him.
Do you know what land that is that he's...
I want to say... yeah, and there's Resto Angel who's going to end Treasure Mage's day prematurely. Which land are you talking about? This, I believe, is Mirrodin's Core.
Mirrodin's Core. I gotta look that one up. Oh, okay. No.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah. Looks a little greener in person.
Yeah. So here come the beats.
Phyrexia core, someone's saying.
Oh.
That looks right.
Okay.
Okay, so he can gain a little bit of life off that. I don't think that's really what he wants in this matchup.
It's probably not going to bring him back from what we've got going on.
So it looks like Mark is taking 5 here. Or has taken 5 here.
So, Torpor Orb...
And looks like he's taking another 7.
It had potential, and I suppose it's stopping it's slowing some of the bleeding, but it's not good. It's not good enough to bring Mark back in this match unless he's got some other trick in his sleeve. Judge is familiar. Can you see the little fist pump action? I suppose he could put that guy in front of either of those Snapcasters and trade, but
no.
And
he needs a Path to Exile. Let's see if he sacks it, makes him pay 1 more mana if he wants to get the land out of his deck. He decides to get a land.
Alright, so
Fetching on land out of his library.
That is gonna leave Mark in the face of 7 damage on board, plus the possibility of burn straight up.
Can't imagine that there's any single damage spell in Andrew's hand. This is sarcasm, of course. After that Sphinx's Rev, I'm sure he's got about 1,000,000 points of burning effect. I think I see Electrolyze, which
I saw Electrolyze too, so
exactly what he needs. And it doesn't actually matter because he's
got Colonnade.
A Celestial Colonnade. Hasn't activated it yet, of course. Still has,
well, he could activate it and still have mana up for Electrolyze.
Yep.
So something were to go afoul. And Mark is looking at this damage, and he's figuring out that's... Oh, he could throw... he could throw good old Fairy Conclave to the dogs, but unfortunately...
And also gain 1 life off of the if he sacks that Torpor Orb.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters. I think he's dead no matter what. I think Andrew actually has Xyz even if he blocks the Colonnade and sacks the Torpor Orb for the life. Because Andrew... Yeah, there it is. There's 2 damage on top of the 7. Okay, so Mark's going up to 9 right now. And then presumably down to 7 after that Electrolyze resolves.
Well,
unless he's shooting
it depends on how he's targeting, but it doesn't seem like I think
Mark
super
is
relevant.
I think the game is over right now either way.
I suppose it's just a question of
he shows him a worm coil engine.
Yes.
Shows him.
Yes,
sure. That's Spine of Isha.
But
yeah, so he's showing him all the great cards in his hand. Unfortunately,
I think the
never got a chance to resolve those cards, which is crucial if you want to win a game of Magic: The Gathering.
Yeah, I think the only thing he could really show him is the handshake. Despite the idea of ramping out artifacts, Mark just got hemmed in too quickly with counter spells, with burn.
Yeah, Andrew was really easily able to 1-for-1 him both of those games, and then when it came time to Sphinx's Revelation, just refill that hand and make sure you have enough answers and enough ways to win the game that you can put it over pretty quickly.
All right, so Mason, I guess we should see if we can get another match going in our stream. Do you want to check and see where people are at? If we can move, if anybody's in a position we can
I'll
move
them
over.
Get someone else in our feature match area.
Oh, there's only 10 minutes
10
left.
minutes left in the round.
That does not seem like.
I'm sure there's a control mirror match that we can find.
So, Mark's signing the match slip. Unfortunately, he's going to go down, and it's going to be a 2-0 record for Mr. Hoffman. And that's going to have him starting the day off where he wanted 1-0. And I'm thinking it's probably not very likely we're going to be able to fetch over a new match for this round, but coming up we're going to have a lot of different opportunities to choose from. Someone in the chat wants to see twin. We've certainly got a few twin players out there. I think we've got an American twin, and I think we've got just a standard UR twin going. We've got some burn going. We've got a couple Delver decks online, specifically Grixis Delver. We've got actually a few Infect players, at least a few times I've been here. I haven't seen Infect do its thing, so we can look to see who all do you guys want to see. We've got a couple people in chat wanting to see UR Twin, and you know, that's always an interesting deck. Always got a lot of different game, so that is something that we can try to get going for you in round number 2. One of the things that Mason and I did not mention right yet is our giveaway for this round. We have one card that we're giving away, and it is a pretty sweet card. Let's see if I can get us back to the booth while we're waiting for word on if there are other matches. All right, we got
a twin mirror match.
Oh, here comes Mason. Mason says we've got a twin mirror match. So
we have Zach Witten and Ryan Shackles at 1-1 in the twin mirror match. So this should be interesting.
All right, so this is exactly what some folks in the chat were wanting. It's some twin action. So we're
actually, do you know which is which? Do you know either of these players?
I know Zach, and I'm not seeing enough to know for sure, but I think that he is on the left of this. So I can go and confirm that. Alright, so yes indeed, that is Zach Witten with the gray sweater on the left, and he's playing Ryan Shackles with twin on the right. What life totals can't possibly be?
No. Looks like he's searching his library right now, which I would assume would be to fetch, so he's 19. I didn't see the fetch anywhere, but... oh, and it looks like he got attacked by a Grim Lavamancer. So, he's at 18. And it looks like Ryan is perhaps 20.
Alright.
Or, no, he must have shocked for that, so...
Alright, so Ryan
looks like he's at 17.
Takes another one because he's sacked Flooded Strands.
And it looks like we might have Tarmo Twin, actually.
Alright. Alright, so Zach has Splinter Twin in hand, along with looks to be Wild Slash, and he's got a Dismember, so he's got some protection if Ryan tries to combo out here. He did flash out Pestromite. So Ryan looking at his board, looking at his hand, trying to figure out if he should go for it. I believe that Zach also may have a Dispel in hand.
Zach has the, well, it looks like he's not going it for it, but we know that Zach has a Dismember in hand, so he can kind of say, okay, I got nothing when he taps down his land, but really he has, you know, an answer to the Splinter Twin combo.
Alright, here comes Serum Visions. He scries a land, which I think he keeps the land. He shoves Cryptic Command to the bottom, so he's got 2 mana up.
Ryan is looting with Desolate Lighthouse now, a really powerful card in this matchup. Just lets you dig through your deck for just the right card.
Alright, so sacking Scalding Tarn puts Ryan to 16. And he puts in Steam Vents tapped. What's Ryan going to do here? He seems to have...
Looks like that was on his own turn.
Yes.
Oh.
So he swings with Pestermite. Pestermite's going to get dismembered.
And he's tapping 2 for that Dismember. I'm not sure why, because he has no way to produce black mana. Oh, no, he was already tapped out from... so he's losing 4 on that Dismember. It's down to 10, but he does get rid of that Pestermite.
Serum Vision's keeping both on top. If you're Zach Witten, you just can't like to see that. Plus, of course, Ryan's got enough fuel in his graveyard for 2 points of damage here, plus another 2. Ryan's gonna have to see if he can force out some answers here. Shackles on Grim Lavamancer. Is he going to use Grim Lavamancer to shock itself? Oh, he's got a Remand. Remand is going to lead to Zach sacking land. Probably he's going to be on Dispel.
Spell or Spell Snare. He's showing one in his library. Let's see if he has one in his hand too.
So he's going to keep us in suspense a little longer as to what he's going to do. I think, yes, it is Dispel. But Ryan has a turn to do Destructive Revelry.
Destructive Revelry.
And that's going to be another 2 off of Zach Witten's life total, putting him at 7. Again, enough stuff in the graveyard such that Grim Lavamancer by itself, if it's not put into check here, could spell the end of Mr. Witten.
And that was a really powerful Destructive Revelry, and that's a really good card in this matchup because not only does it take care of Splinter Twins, but it takes care of all of the artifacts that Twin brings in post-board, such as that Shackles and like Batterskull and things of that nature.
Well, speaking of which, here's big skulls. And Zach is going to take 2 here, courtesy of Grim Lavamancer, putting him to 5. There is a lot that just kills him here. Bolt plus Lavamancer, if that's something Ryan.
Or Snapcaster, Destructive Revelry. I think so. Time just got called in round, but we have a 2-minute extension here, and there it is. Snapcaster, Destructive Revelry. That's just about game, yeah. And Zach offers a handshake.
He's just gonna scoop it up. At that point, he'd just be at 1. So congratulations to Ryan Shapples, who pulls out the twin on twin match. And they're signing the slip. So with time in the round, what do you guys want to see from us round 2?
Yeah.
Talk back to us in the chat, folks.
Yeah, let's see you guys. What do you guys want to see? We've got a number of decks here. Anything in particular that's interesting?
Well, somebody's trying to make elves work in
we don't have a timer.
Oh,
The timer didn't.
you have to.
There you go. Sorry about that.
Oh, it's okay.
And there we go. And then the boop. And then the beep. And the boop bop bop.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Wait, alright. You gotta show your prettiness.
All right.
Prettiness.
Yeah, we're back in the booth. Hey, Mike.
Hey guys, we're
Yeah.
back in the booth.
Good to see you, man.
Penal is playing a deck that apparently is Fauna Shaman oriented, but he was telling me briefly that he's been changing up every time he's brought it. So
It's been interesting to see that deck evolve over the last couple weeks. I've been tuning into the stream, and it started out I think like a 5-color deck and doing crazy things. I think he's cut blue and might just only be a Naya now, but
So some folks in the stream want to see Tron, want to see Amulet Bloom, want to see Goblins. Unfortunately, I don't think any of those decks are here. We do have a player who's on Storm. We have a few Burn players. We do have somebody on Red Green Tron. I should take that back. So we've
some
got
calls for elves. An elves player, do we?
There's one Elves
We
player.
have one elves player. All right, do you wanna?
And we've got 2 or 3 Infect players. One person's on Mono Black Infect, and then I assume the rest are Blue Green. The Storm player who we've got today, he's like, I just am picking this deck up.
Oh, perfect. That will be lovely to watch.
I don't know. And for whatever reason, at least as far as I know, we have not had Amulet Bloom make a splash here at the MTG card market metagame. It's obviously been doing really well in the hands of some players at big tournaments like the recent Grand Prix, a couple SCG Opens.
And the Pro Tour especially.
And it
Came
came second in the Pro Tour as well.
No small feat.
So
I think the main reason that deck, aside from all the prices skyrocketing after its solid performance, is that it's not an easy deck to just pick up and play. It requires a lot of time play testing, just goldfishing, and against opponents before you really even are prepared to take it to tournament. So I've heard. I've never played the deck, and I've only played against it once.
Right, but one would think the allure of a turn 3 prime time would be enough to say,
Turn 2 prime time.
You know what? I'm going to open up my wallet and I'm going to see if I can get this going and see if I can take some folks by surprise. So, but thanks so much, Sydney, for providing us with some sweet food.
Sydney is providing us
He's
with
the best.
delicious
So
food.
you're supposed to pour this into the bowl.
All right.
It's ramen.
Yes.
Okay. You guys are good. I think you are.
Guys, I think before we were talking about giveaways, this is our giveaway. As you can see,
Nice giveaway.
It's a sweet giveaway. It's a foil Japanese Tech Edge. I believe since we only have one giveaway, we're probably going to wait until sometime after round.
Yeah, either after round 3 or 4, we'll see.
We are going to try to have that out to you. So hopefully you guys know how we do our raffles here. Once we announce a raffle, you put exclamation mark, I believe, raffle, and then you'll be entered, and then we will choose somebody at random to be our winner of this awesome foil Japanese Tech Edge. I'm not a foiled guy.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I'm not a foil guy by any means, but this is a foil I can get behind. It's pretty sweet looking.
It's a nice looking foil, and not one that you'll see every day with Japanese Tech Edge.
Well, even Lonely Sandbar, if you do not play with foils, I'm sure that you will find somebody that does.
Be willing to trade you
lots and lots of stuff. Their firstborn, naming rights to their house, a
naming
car,
rights to their homebrew deck,
all sorts of things.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a little bit before we get that going, so just bear with us, hang tight. No use in saying exclamation raffle now.
It's fine to get the practice. You're doing it. You're doing great, you guys. And when the raffle starts, you will be well prepared to join.
Yes, it does look sweet. Look at it.
Yeah.
Look at
You can
it.
get in a good light or something. Lovely.
See, pretty tasty.
Yeah.
So yes, what happens after the giveaway is we will announce the winner in the chat, and then we'll send you a message saying, please tell us an address and your actual name, because I'm sure just putting it into FedEx with somebody's screen name is probably not going to make anybody happy.
They might be able to figure it out.
But yes. So.
All right. So sounds like I want to see Storm played. Honestly,
All right.
I don't care if they're new. It'll be just that much more fun.
All right. So how's that sound, guys? We want to get Storm online. I'll make you this deal, Mason. If the Storm player is up 1-0, we'll get Storm on.
All right, sounds like a plan.
All right, I'm gonna go check in with Sherwood and see where things are at, and
sounds like a plan.
Be right back.
Someone's playing Eggs?
Don't even ask.
All right. Oh wow. Yeah, I'd like to see some Storm. I've built Storm. I haven't played it recently because I wasn't very good at it. Not that I was terrible. I just felt really slow at it, so wasn't too comfortable just bringing it to local tournaments. And Affinity felt better. It's my longtime love of modern decks. Eggs on camera. We'll see what happens. We'll see what Raul brings us back. I would be happy to see an Eggs player on camera, but I'm not sure if that'll be happening. So Raul sounded a little hesitant. Looks like we got a couple Grixis Delvers here actually.
Alright, so here's our pairings. So if you want to take a look and see who our Storm player is, so I can be as
We've gotten lots of requests for Eggs since you were gone. I can't read that.
Okay, so are we really going to do this to our viewing audience? Are we really going to...
They really want Eggs. Everyone's saying Eggs.
Okay, let's see if I can figure out it. Alright, so we're going to do Eggs.
Yeah.
You guys are going to...
You will regret the day that you asked for Eggs. If it's Eggs versus Storm, I'll be the happiest man alive.
I don't think it is Eggs versus Storm. I think it's Eggs versus RG Tron as well.
Okay.
That's a silly matchup.
Oh yeah. I'm sure anyone playing Eggs nowadays is a very, very competent player. It's not exactly like a fad deck that a lot of people are just picking up, so I have to imagine anyone playing it is going to be at least relatively skilled with that deck and getting Eggs. Some people are pretty adamant against Eggs, so...
Well...
There's always next match, folks.
So we're going to have Eggs versus RG Tron, and we'll see which is Mas Macho. Let's see if we can get things going.
Alright, so
I believe we have on the right is Martin, and on the left we have Alex. So the player name.
It's Martin. Someone's showing off there.
I think you got reverse. Martin's on the right,
sorry.
and
Who's on the left?
and it's Alex Briggs.
Great.
And they're both 1-0.
What is Alex's last name?
SPR.
Oh,
So
Alex Spriggs
and he's on Red Green Tron, and Ryan is going to be on Eggs, which, you know, we try to give you guys what you want, but I have to say,
Martin. Oh,
I have to say, not a huge fan of this matchup. For those of you who don't know, I'm a Magic judge, and I did a little dance when Eggs was banned, or effectively neutered when Second Sunrise was banned, I should say. But so I was like, how on earth is Eggs making a comeback? Is it like one of these horror movie villains when you think that they're dead, but all of a sudden in the last minute they pop back up? And Martin says, "Open the vaults" is good enough. Briggs shows off his opening hand. We didn't take a quick look, but it looks like he's got a lot of Tron, and he's got Ugin.
And Ugin, yeah. So it looks like Martin is taking a mulligan here. I guess Egg's not the most consistent deck.
But one of the things about Eggs is it does have the ability to withstand a few mulligans.
And that Ugin is not going to be looking too good. The minus of it, it's really going to be a lightning bolt a turn, unless Eggs has a lot of colored permanents that I don't know about. I should change these life totals.
So that starts us off with Chromatic Star. Martin responds with Lowe's Bloom, 3 counters, Mox Opal, and Tyrion.
I gotta read this one too. What is it?
Tyrion. T-E-R. Oh, you just missed.
What is it?
Tyrion. There you go.
Alright, comes into play tapped, and you can pay 2 and sack it to add 2 mana of any combination of colors into your mana pool and draw a card. So it's kind of a Manamorphose that's colorless, I guess.
It takes a little longer and costs a little more, but hey,
yeah,
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. Ancient Stirrings gives Alex a chance to look at for a few, and he gets a Tron piece. He always got Tower. It looks like he picked up Mine through Ancient Stirrings. So he does lay Mine, and here comes Chromatic Sphere. Martin's looking at options. What is that? Is that?
I have no idea.
Anybody in chat know what the?
If anyone can tell us what Martin's middle card is there, we would be much indebted. And it's gone.
Chat points out
Ghost
Quarter.
Ah,
pretty good at Tron because not too many. Oh, he does have a forest.
Tron usually does play 1 or 2 basic lands. But it's definitely gonna put him, stop him from obtaining Tron for at least another turn, depending on whether Alex has any redundant copies.
Look at Alex trying to figure out some of these puzzle pieces, what exactly they do. Egg's not super popular at the moment, but who knows, maybe Martin can make it have a comeback. And Alex was figuring out what to nature's claim, so he got rid of Tarion.
Yeah, I mean, drawing a card and turning your 2 colorless mana into mana of whatever color seems at least pretty useful, and if you can get rid of that, guess you can slow down the Eggs player.
Sylvan's Scrying should allow Alex to get the last piece of Tron that he needs.
And has he played his land for turn already? I think he hasn't. So he'll have, I think, 5 mana this turn. Let's see what he chooses to do with that.
Now, Mason, I haven't had a good glimpse other than Ugin of what Alex has going on. But
I don't think he has a lot, actually. I can't really see either. And I guess he had already played his land for a turn there. Is that a pain land?
It looks like it is Adakar Waste, but
That's what I don't know how to spell that. So, Alex has Tron online now. Let's see what he chooses to do here. Looks like he's going to
pop that to draw a card.
And he has 8 mana floating right now. So he
that's
slams at Ugin, which is going to be dealing 3 to Martin every turn until he can ultimate it. So here you can see Ugin. The -X ability will not be doing much versus Martin, I think.
I think it's
Could be
just
wrong
there for
here.
show. Right there.
But once he's able to, in 2 turns, he can use that minus and really get ahead. I imagine he'll be putting some combination of Karns and Worm Coils onto the battlefield.
So I assume Eggs doesn't have anything to stop Ugin from going ultimate other than Eggs in going off. Thoughtcast gets Eggs a couple more cards.
Artifacts aren't usually colored, but they definitely can be. Vault Scourge, Master of Ethereum.
Master Transmuter we saw.
Yeah, last round we saw a whole bunch of colored artifacts. So, did we see another Ghost Quarter go off here? Once again, putting Alex off of Tron. We'll see if he's able to get back on the Tron train on his turn. So Martin doing a pretty good job of denying Alex Tron. He's had Tron for 1 turn, but it was delayed. So he really hasn't done anything this game other than play that Ugin, which is again just gonna be
Lightning bolt to the face.
all right every turn.
For
And there's the
Expo
expedition map.
And that'll get it the missing piece. Which means 5 mana.
So yeah,
believe.
Alex once again getting on the Tron bandwagon. Pretty hard to keep him off when he manages to have enough search spells to just get Tron through multiple ghost corners. Plus playing multiple basics. I mean, I'm not that familiar with Tron. I don't know how many basics they usually play, but it's at least 2 in this case.
Alright, so another bolt to the face courtesy of Ugin. And puts him on 11. What's the ultimate on Ugin? 14?
Minus 10, actually. So he can ultimate that Ugin next turn, and that's he gains 7 life, draws 7 cards, and puts 7 permanent cards on the battlefield. And I think he is...
So here's Ironworks, Car Clan Ironwork.
Alright, this is, I think, the signature card of this new Eggs deck. We can see Martin is already at 2 floating mana, and he has a lot more mana available to him. And he's just drawn 2 cards with Thoughtcast. So I think he's wondering what exactly is going to happen on the next turn when that Ugin ultimates. And the answer is that nothing good for him is going to happen.
Mm.
So, spending some of his mana here, cracking a star. Looks like he's just trying to dig through more cards because I imagine that Martin feels like he has to win this turn.
Yeah, once Alex is on 27 and has the opportunity to put 7 more permanents in play, there's some really tough to deal with permanents there.
Yeah.
Of course, the thing about Eggs is it can
Does
win
it
out
actually
nowhere.
go infinite? I can't imagine it actually goes infinite.
He's one thing I will give Martin is he is playing at a pretty brisk pace. So he's trying to sack some stuff, see where he can get to. And it looks like he's got 5 mana in his pool.
And 1 white mana from when he cracked his star. So it looks like he's going for it's second sunrise. That's banned. What is the new card that Eggs uses now?
He's got Open the Vaults as an option, and he also has Faith's Reward, which was not banned, which was used in old Eggs.
Also worth noting that he does have the Lotus Bloom available to him.
Goes down to 4 to put out Mind Stone and craft something else. So Mind Stone only costs 1. What else? He's going to use Lotus Bloom for the 3, probably enabling him to cast Open the Vaults or.
I think he's making blue mana with that actually.
Oh really?
Looks like because he's putting the dice on the Akadar Wastes.
So
See, another Thoughtcast. More expensive this time because he doesn't have quite as many artifacts. Alex taking this opportunity to crack that star. That's one of the prisms. Can't remember exactly which prism that. It's not It's not Pentad prism.
It's a prophetic prism.
Prophetic prism. I think that's right. Here we go. So it looks like he's playing a lot of ways to draw cards in the form of artifacts. And another Krark Clan Ironworks. The card doesn't exactly do a lot in multiples. Unless I'm mistaken.
It does sack for a 2 mana, though.
It does, right. So it's kind of a 4 mana investment to eventually produce 2 mana. And here we go, ultimating the Ugin. He is up to 27 now. And this will be exciting. Let's see what he does with this.
So all that activity on Martin's part, but he didn't quite get there.
But you never know. It's since we can't really see his hand, he could have very well been posturing for a turn, a win on the next turn.
That's true, because Open the Vaults gets all those cards he's just sacked back. It must feel really great to ultimate Ugin, still have Ugin, still know that there's nothing his opponent can do on his turn to get rid of Ugin.
Oh, and that's actually really big, that Relic of Progenitus. He can crack that right now and get rid of all the cards in the graveyard that Martin has been stacking up. This game is looking not too good for Martin, I have to say. That Karn is going to take a card out of his hand, an O-Stone. Probably not exactly what he wants to be using right now, but he can start putting Fate
Counters on stuff
on his things. Yeah,
it's nice to have the backup in case you need it, but I think the biggest card, like you pointed out, Mason, was Relic of Progenitus. Now those graveyard shenanigans, not going to happen. Meanwhile, Alex is continuing to go through the first world magic problems of all those, arranging all those cards that he just had to play.
And he actually goes for the Krark Clan Ironworks. I have to say, I'm actually kind of surprised about that. I don't really think the second Krark Clan is as impactful as any given card out of Martin's hand.
Yeah, I would want to reduce the chances of him having a play. And of course, if Karn actually has to restart the game, I'm not sure what good starting the game off with a Krark Clan Ironworks does for Alex. And as somebody pointed out in the chat, if Martin wanted to be vengeful, he could have sacked that Ironworks to the other Ironworks so that nothing went under Karn. But I suppose he's just looking at all these permanents that Alex has just put into play and trying to figure out, what do I do now with this? Because now I've got a Worm Coil that's coming. I'm going to be bolted in the face next turn.
I'm going to be losing all my graveyard with that relic.
Maybe he's going to wait for a little bit longer before pulling the trigger on getting rid of Martin's graveyard. I'd be tempted to do it right now, when he was tapped out, and that they can think of any tricks.
He's going to do it in response to...
Right. So sacking Mind Stone, drawing cards, trying to find answers.
So what is the...
And he extends a hand. There's
Okay.
just no coming back from that position for Martin, at least at this moment.
So 1-0 in favor of the green-red Tron player.
Right.
I'm not surprised to see that, honestly. I think that against Tron, you need to present a pretty quick clock
Mm-hmm.
if you want to, get in under their Karns and their Worm Coil engines. And like we saw that game, that Ugin, he had lots of turns to deal with that Ugin, but doesn't really play a single way to do that.
Yeah, it just didn't seem like there were too many things that Martin could do. He couldn't speed up his own clock, and he can fiddle around the edges trying to keep Alex off of Tron, but there it was not very successful because Alex had so many ways to search up. I think they're both on 1-0.
1-0 or 0-1?
Yeah.
This is... Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so here we are getting ready for the second game in this match, and not quite sure what Eggs has to try and get back into this.
Well, I saw he's playing basically mono white. Looks like splashing some blue, so I could see Path to Exile maybe as a way to deal with Worm Coils permanently. Yeah, I'm not very familiar with Eggs, so I'm not really sure what else they could be playing.
And one of the advantages of X being sort of left field right now is who's going to have sideboard cards for it. I suppose some of the cards that go against it, say an Affinity like a Stony Silence might be something that you could bring in, but again, you just are not going to expect Eggs to be something that you're going to have to face off against very frequently. So looks like Martin's going to go back to some of his sideboarding options. Taking out a Lotus Bloom. And
Couldn't see what that was.
it looks like he's got a Rogue Existence, trying to, I guess, get rid of either some of these artifact cards that Alex has in his deck, the search methods he has, like Expedition Map, or of course the bigger cards like Worm Coil all go away thanks to Rogue Existence.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I imagine he's probably not going to be playing... he might also be playing Path to Exile, but this Revoke Existence seems like a much better option.
Zergling asked, isn't Eggs banned in Modern? The deck itself, Eggs, is not banned, but one of the key cards in the previous iteration of Eggs was banned, and that card was Second Sunrise. So, Second Sunrise is no more, but this is a version of Eggs that doesn't play that. It does, I believe, open the vaults instead. I'm trying to remember if Open the Vaults was banned, but it seems like that's a pretty powerful card.
I think this one is legal at 6 CMC. Yeah.
So Open the Vaults is a card that will get all those artifacts back and allow Martin to chain things. But that's only if, of course, Alex with Red-Green Tron doesn't beat him to the punch with any of the haymakers that deck has.
And he's got to hope that all the artifacts that he sacked to cast the Open the Vaults produced more than 6 mana, or else you're behind on mana there.
Yeah, and actually a particular problem... Oh, he's got Pithing Needle. I'm going to go find out what Pithing Needle is naming.
I wouldn't be surprised if that Pithing Needle were naming Cart Clan Ironworks. But he might have just named a random egg. Cart Clan Ironworks being the grade A jumbo organic eggs. And with a Ghost Quarter there, that's gonna put.
Mason didn't hit it on the head. It is naming Ironworks.
Cart Clan Ironworks on the Pithing Needle. All right. Not too surprising, as that is Martin's way to make tons of colorless mana. And once again, that Ghost Quarter is going to slow Alex down. He could have potentially had Tron the next turn, and now he's going to have to wait at least one more turn.
So one of the key...
did he name Cart Clan Ironworks? Because these guys are right. Naming Cart Clan Ironworks does not work.
Well, I guess it's a question.
So,
question of whether or not Martin realizes.
Yeah, he could have been doing it to sort of try to trick Martin and hope that he didn't realize that he can still activate Cart Clan Ironworks.
Pull up Pithing Needle. Actually.
Sure. Let's take a look at Pithing Needle. Yeah, unless it's a mana ability.
Well,
if he had had a Phyrexian Revoker, he would have had no problem naming Cart Clan Ironworks and shutting it down for mana. We'll see if Martin realizes that he actually can activate his Cart Clan Ironworks. I know that I've definitely made that mistake where, I've played Pithing Needles assuming that I could turn off a mana ability of a non-land card.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. That seems to be Tron.
I'm not that familiar with the alternate.
That is
Tron
mine.
Artworks, but I expect that.
It looks to me from the bottom of the screen we've got Power Plant Tower and then mine.
Yeah.
So that's.
So he has a full Tron. So he's got, I think, a colorless mana and a mana of some color floating. I would imagine green or red.
And there's Worm Coil.
Pretty nice here.
Now, one of the things that I was going to say earlier before we had Pithing Needle out was Open the Vaults lets both players get all the artifacts from their graveyards back into play. And so against a lot of matchups, that's not going to be very relevant. But here, Alex has got already a couple, it looks to be a star and a sphere in the graveyard. So that could be actually a pretty big downside for using Open the Vaults, not to mention the fact that he has to get to 6 mana, does Martin, and right now he's just on 4. So it's looking like it's at least a turn or two away before Open the Vaults could even be much of a factor in this.
Johnny Turbo, I was in your same boat there. I didn't know how Planeswalker abilities worked with mana abilities, but I went to look up what it took to be a mana ability, and for those of you wondering, it has to not be a Planeswalker ability. It has to put mana in your mana pool, and it has to have no targets. So also, Deathrite Shaman is not a mana ability.
So Karn joins the party, and it takes away one of the lands, slowing him up. So now
actually, it takes that Thopter Foundry.
A Thopter Foundry, is that what it is?
That's interesting. I wonder if maybe he has some alternate win con with Thopter Foundry where he just makes a bunch of Thopters with the mana that he produces with his guys.
So Karn's going to go ahead and open the vaults here, it looks like.
It's pretty good here.
Well, it's not very good with a restarted game, but I don't know if that's the line that Alex will take with Wormcoil already on the battlefield and ready to swing for 6 damage.
Yeah, I imagine that things would have to get pretty bad for Alex to want to restart the game from here.
So more Tron pieces. Wormcoil swings for 6. That'll put Martin down to 14 and Alex up to 26, and then Alex is going to pass the turn. Martin thinking about what he might do. He's floating a bunch of mana. There's the Ironworks. He taps Mox Opal for 1. Sacks it Thoughtcast for draw 2 for 1 blue. Seems good. Splits a land. Oh, he extends the hand. It's too tough to come back off of that unanswered Wormcoil. So I'm going to go check and see how much time we've got in the round and see if we can get another match going. Hey, folks in chat, is there anything in particular you'd like to see us try to track down?
I think of particular interest, I guess we got Storm. We got a bunch of decks here. Storm, we got Infect, Elves, Grixis Delver, a couple of those. Is this Affinity?
Yeah, that would be Affinity.
Nice. Alright, we got Affinity. I would love to see Affinity.
You guys gotta remember to bring it back.
Bring it back to the booth. Yeah, we were just jamming on some ramen. So
we were eating delicious ramen thanks to good friend
Sydney.
Sydney Rubin.
So,
you guys have probably seen
Mark, do you want to
too.
find us another match? Because we just...
Yeah, I can. Are you guys comfortable doing the giveaway?
we want to do the giveaway now?
No, it's too early.
Yeah, we're gonna wait.
Yeah,
But
that's fine.
yeah.
As long as you guys are comfortable doing it, because I'm gonna take off.
Okay.
Mulled before and then stuck on 1 card, despite me digging 10 cards deep.
Wow. That's rough.
Yeah. Anyway, and also you got phone holders. Look at that.
Hey, we got some new followers.
All right, yeah. Thanks to our followers. We got Varkin Leet. Here, I'm just gonna go through and thank and rattle off all the followers we've had tonight. Thanks all you guys for following. We got Varkin Leet, JS Diakios. That's how I would pronounce that. Huni01, Person 431, Spelefraun.
Spelefreund.
Spelefraun. I'm pronouncing it like it's Dutch, but I'm sure it's German.
What is it? What's the word?
Spleckenden Dungeon.
That is not
That was
what it
Spleckenden
is.
Dungeon.
Complete bastard is
Sprekenfruden. That's what it is. Sydney and Dom are moving over.
Awesome.
You guys have a great night. I'll see you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you guys all for following.
All right, so we've got Sydney. We're not going to be biased at all just because he brought us ramen.
Yeah,
it was delicious, and we
We
enjoyed
are
it very much.
hard-hitting.
Streamers. So Sydney is going to be on Burn. And then who else do we have going on here? We have got Dominic. Dominic, wow, it's getting to the point where I can't read my own handwriting.
Dominic.
He's on Blue White Ninjas. So this should be an interesting one.
Oh. Well, I hope that they just go to the right side. Oh, perfect! Wow.
You are the best, sir, in figuring out who was who. So, do we know what our match record is for either of these guys?
Should be on here.
Well, so
no, I don't know what the match record is here. I imagine 1-1.
Well, it looks like yes. Right now, Both these guys are on actually 0-1.
Are they? I thought they were 1-0.
Nope.
Nope, you're right.
They have no points. So Sydney's already starting off with some fireworks. It looks like he had a lava spike go off.
So he's at 17. 17. And is that a tapped hollowed fountain?
I think that's correct. So Sydney's got the Eidolon of the Great Revel out. That's gonna. I think you're good to go.
And another fetch for Sydney there. So he's at 16. But yeah, that Eidolon is gonna really make it hard for.
All right, so there's big delves.
And he's losing 2 life in the process to play that Delver.
All right, Sydney swings in for 2
2
more. That'll bring him to 13.
So this Eidolon already dealt 4 damage. That's pretty good value for a burn player. The Crafter 703. Thank you for following. Welcome to our stream.
All right, so it looks like Delver did not get to turn into Insectile Aberration, but he does get to swing for 1. And Sydney's thinking about if he wants to burn this pesky Delver. I'm guessing.
I have to imagine that as long as that Delver is turned face down,
you can have that 1/1
yeah.
all day long. If, that's probably wise. All right, so we have a fetch from Sydney with gets us to Sacred Foundry. So now he's got access to red, white, and green mana, which may give some options there. Looks like Sydney has Boar's Charm, if I'm not mistaken, in his hand.
Yeah, it definitely looks like at least a Boros Charm.
Here's another Sacred Foundry tapped, and here's another swing from Eidolon. Looks
So
like
that Eidolon is really doing a lot of damage here. And I have to imagine that any blue-white ninja deck, whatever that is going to be playing pretty low CMC spells.
Yep, so Fledgestrand's going to put Dominic to 10 and well within burn range. If I had to guess, Sydney has at least 2 burn cards in hand.
And he's getting a basic island here. Interesting choice.
Alright, so Dominic probably hoping to flip Delver after he's done shuffling. Wants just the right cut from Sydney. Sydney does cut it. Restyle, and here's the looksee. Does not reveal, so it's going to be another beat for 1 and possibly a ninja. That's one of.
That's a pretty good draw for Dominic. I was thinking it's pretty bad that it's not flipping because I'm guessing most of Dominic's answers are going to be in the form of instants and sorceries. But if he has a ninja, I think that those should get around Eidolon.
Hallowed Fountain tapped. Here comes
Delver of Secrets, dealing 1 damage. No ninjas. Dominic going down to 8 here.
And we're pretty much officially in the danger zone.
Yeah, he's in the, you cast any spell. And there's a Gataxian Probe. Probably one of the worst cards that Dominic could have drawn here.
Well, I don't know.
The fact that the fact that it flips that Delver is nice. But I can't imagine that he's casting that this game.
I think he should cast it by paying life. That would be
put him
the line I would
and
use.
And then Boros Charm ends it. It's the gentleman's way to go out, for sure.
So
he
leaves
passing. Okay.
He leaves Insectile Aberration back because obviously swinging for 2, that 3 is not going to be as good as the Crackback plus burn. There's at least one lightning bolt does Sydney have, and I believe he also has a Boris Charm from earlier.
It is notable that Sydney has drawn a lot of lands this game. This is 6 lands. That is way more lands than any burn deck wants to draw. So the fact that this Eidolon has done so much damage over the course of this game is really important, because otherwise Sydney might have just not had the gas to put this game out.
At the same time, though, he's got Boris Charm, Lightning
Comes
Bolt,
a Path to Exile. That is going to lose him 2 life.
And then that's
got to be game, assuming Sydney has 2 burn spells in his hand.
Sydney does have Lightning Bolt, and he does have Boris Charm. I don't understand.
I assume he lets that resolve first.
Well, no, apparently he just wants to burn. Oh, he's going to try to draw a counter spell?
Okay.
A spell starter.
So he takes 2 damage. So he's getting as much value out of this Eidolon as he can get. So Sydney losing 4 on that Eidolon, not actually as important as getting in these last few points of damage. And if this Boros Charm resolves, that's game.
And Dominic is just looking at it and saying, yep, that's it. That'll do 4 damage, and it's time to...
Yep, Dominic packs it up. Let's see if that was game.
The scoop phase.
What game that was. See if that match was over. Yep. All right, looks like they're signing the match results. So that was a match in favor of Sydney.
Yep. Well, Sydney, congratulations.
Congrats, and thanks for all the ramen.
The ramen was delicious. Somebody in the chat wanted us to raffle off the ramen. I think it's a
that
little
ramen's
too
worth
late.
more to me than this. Oh, where is it?
Where did we put it?
Use our card.
Yeah.
This foil Japanese Tectonic Edge that we will be raffling off later.
I don't know if it's worth more, but I definitely ate that ramen. I would not eat that card.
I would never eat this card, and I was very happy to eat this ramen.
Yeah. One of my fellow judges was joking about opening up all-you-can-eat booster a restaurant that serves booster packs for $10. And he's like, I think that's good value. So
depends on how you define value.
I'm pretty sure that some people will just say, okay, give me 3 booster packs to start out with, and then be like, oh, I forgot, I'm so full, I can't eat this Ugin that I cracked in this booster pack.
It would be unfortunate if you couldn't finish that Ugin off. Arthur, how are you doing?
No, I'm 1-1.
1-1.
I lost to Grixis Delver.
Grixis Delver, interesting.
Yeah.
They're
those
definitely
Eidolons.
Yeah, I did take them out.
You took them out?
Yeah.
I think they're good.
No, they're really bad.
Gavatron 111. I'm sure there's sometimes I would pay $30 for ramen, but not now. Thanks to my pal Sydney.
Yeah, exactly.
And the free ramen.
It was good. It's very good ramen. Wasn't the cup of ramen that I'm used to.
How much ramen do you eat, Mason? You're still in college, right?
We buy boxes of ramen in bulk. There's 5 guys living in my house, and it goes slower than you might expect. We go through like a 36-pack of ramen in like a semester, I think. So gotta get as much sodium intake as we possibly can while it still won't kill us.
That's a plan. Christian Ryan wants to know what our giveaways are. It is this aforementioned Tech Edge
foil Japanese Tectonic Edge.
Yes.
Sweet card, if I do say so myself.
Yes. So we're going to have to figure out when we're going to give that away. I think sometime.
Five goons living in my house.
I think we're going to try to give that away sometime during our next round.
Yeah, after the next round.
Probably. So stay tuned. Hopefully you guys all know how to enter in the raffle, because I'm sure you don't want a chance to get with this sweet foil Japanese Tech Edge. So I think Christian Ryan was asking if Sydney won. Sydney is on camera.
Sydney did win.
I've been on 2 matches when Sydney's on camera, and he's undefeated while I am commentating, and he's on camera. So there you go, Sydney. You have to make sure that I'm back, and you have to make sure you got feature matches to get rack up those wins. Last time I was here, he was 3-0 going into round 4, and we're like, so are you drawing? And he's like, drawings for chumps. And
it is for chumps.
So he did prove that to be the case because he did win that feature match. And meanwhile, I guess the flip side for Zach Witten. Zach Witten, the both times I've commentated and he's been on camera, he's lost. So we saw him lose earlier today, and he lost to Sydney in that match I was just talking about. So maybe Zach wants me to commentate less or be on camera less.
I think they're saying I think they were talking about when I was talking to Arthur. For anyone wondering, I was talking to my brother Arthur, who was a commentator here last week. He is 1-1 with Burn.
Burn's doing pretty well in modern circles.
Yeah, I think it's a really strong deck. I spent quite a bit of time yesterday testing Burn because a few of us are going to go play it at a PTQ this weekend. So I want to get as much testing in as I could before that.
Which PPTQ? Is it the one at Chicago Clubhouse, which is the one I'm running?
Is it modern?
It is modern.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's somewhere closer to Wisconsin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Shout out to anyone in Madison, Wisconsin. I know there's at least a couple of you watching.
Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so Burn's
been
having some great results.
It's really strong, and what I noticed mostly just from gold fishing, which tells you only so much, but that it's really consistent. Almost always a turn 4 kill without any disruption, and I got a few turn 3 kills just gold fishing. And something, one of the notable aspects of Burn is that it's not actually very easy to disrupt it. It's slinging 1 mana deal 3s, and you can only 1-for-1 so many of those in your average deck. You might have like 1 or 2 counter spells in your hand, and maybe you can deal with 1 burn spell, but when you deal with that one, there's 4 more coming at you. So I think it's a really strong deck right now, and I'll be interested to see how it does for our team this weekend.
Yeah, and some of the things that happen, like Thoughtseize seems kind of silly against it. It's like, I'll take 2 and take one of the many 3 burn spells.
Yeah,
and that
1 mana, gain 1 life. Yeah, I think it's got good matchups against a lot of the meta, especially these Abzan decks. I imagine the Wilted Abzan might be a little worse, but yeah, I think it's got good matchups all around, and with good tuning and good sideboarding, I think it's easily one of the strongest decks in the format.
Someone in chat is asking, what would the best deck for Grand Prix Miami be? Well, Grand Prix Miami is standard, so what do you think?
I don't know a lot about standard, honestly. I haven't played standard in a while, so I can't speak to what decks are the strongest, but
Abzan's still a good choice.
Yeah,
it's
honestly,
doing pretty well, and like so many people are on red-white. So red-white seems pretty good.
How'd you guys get such...
Well, so let's look at who we got. We've got a couple people at 6.
We have at 3-0.
2-0. We've got Michael Grossman and Brennan Walsh.
Oh, do you know what is Mike playing?
Mike was saying he's playing some sort of homebrew. So
it's kind of like Naya lightsaber. It's like Naya color is trying to accelerate out fatties with Lotus Cobra.
And Brennan Walsh is on Merfolk. Does that sound good, guys?
I would be interested to watch
Dragons
Merfolk.
Who
wants to see
nice.
Dragons versus Merfolk, the classic,
Dragons and Angels
the classic tribal mirror match.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. That sounds great. So yeah, back to what I would play in standard. I played Green Red Devotion in RTR Theros. And I really like that, so I don't know. I would probably play some sort of devotion if I were, held at gunpoint and said you have to go play a standard tournament. But I mean, Abzan is always really powerful. It gives you like some of the strongest cards. You're playing Siege Rhino, which is good enough for every format except Legacy or except Vintage. I don't know, maybe good enough for Legacy.
All right, so let's looks like we're getting our players to the table. We can switch from our likenesses and go to what's going on in the match. I believe.
Yeah, looks like Mike Grossman on the left.
I was gonna.
Or the right. Maybe it's the right. I can't remember.
I thought that he was on a blue sweater like that.
Yeah,
but
I think it's him on the right.
Is there anyone in there? No, right?
No.
And who's his opponent?
His opponent is Dominic. I'm sorry, it's Brendan Walsh. I'm a complete liar.
All right, and these guys are 3-0.
They are 2-0. 2-0.
2-0. Sorry, I see 3 points, and I'm like 3-0.
Yeah, so Brennan should be on Merfolk, and both these guys are 2-0. If we can get our clock going.
How do I do this?
Chronos, on that, and then get ready to hit the start button. Is there?
This guy?
No, the start.
Oh, I see. Oh, nice. All right, presenting this round, a round clock. Sorry for the lack thereof in the previous rounds, you guys.
Yeah. 2-9 is not so impressive.
Not a very good.
Not where you want to be, especially after 2 rounds.
So we have on the right Dragon Homebrew.
We're
gonna call it Dragons, I guess. Who even knows if he's playing Dragons?
Yeah.
And we have Merfolk on the left.
We do. Alright, so I didn't quite catch who won the dice roll, but we'll see shortly who's going to go first here.
Looks like both players are considering their hands. Hard to see exactly what they have. But it looks like...
Oh, a little flash to the camera, but sorry, Mike, we didn't...
Actually, no, it looks like Brennan is playing Affinity.
Oh, okay.
So, anyone who knows me knows I am fond of the artifact creatures.
Alright, so maybe Brennan audibled, or maybe he's playing some weird Merfolk, but here goes Mike Grossman to 19 off of what I believe is Breeding Pool.
Quick shout out to our followers, Diet Mountain Dew Fiend, and I have an inkling of who that might be.
Who's Diet
Perhaps not. MZX. Well, I don't want to say in case it's someone that I have no idea who it is.
We have Mr. Mixelflix in the house. Alright, so
it starts off with a Noble Hierarch, powerful turn 1 play. Oh, that looks like a cranial plating.
Oh, I think you have to deploy Ravager here. He's also got that. So the 2 cards in Affinity that you most want to have in hand are obviously Ravager and cranial plating, and Brennan here has
seems to have both. Yeah, this is like wow, and a Mox Opal too.
Oh, okay. And
this is a really strong start for Brennan. He has his 2 most powerful creatures. He has tons of mana available, and tons of artifacts here. So, that looks like a really good start. And here's a Lotus Cobra. Perhaps generating 2 mana here.
Probably more. He's looking for. There's some landfall, sacking here.
So he's getting
Mesa
2
for a
mana
land.
here.
So. It's already on 2. He's got 2 lands of any color, and possibly up to 3. What's he gonna do with that, though? Is the big question. You know, he just gets a basic mountain.
Just a basic mountain, so he's preserving his life total, which I
would do if I
was for. The thing is, Affinity's usually winning with these huge damage swings, so like 1 or 2 life honestly doesn't make a huge difference at the end of the day. And is that
I'm
is that a Rocks?
I'm wondering if it's Knight of the Reliquary or...
Is that what that is? I can't tell. If
It's
anyone can tell what that card is.
Can you pull up Knight of the Reliquary? Because that might be...
I don't think it's Knight of the Reliquary. Unless it's an alternate art.
There's a couple alternate arts. I don't know if...
Oh yeah, that is a Knight of the Reliquary. Alright, so that's going to help hit landfall triggers. And just generate oh wow, and a Master of Ethereum for Brennan is exactly what he wants to hit here. He has his 3 most powerful cards on the battlefield right now, and Mike is gonna have to do something pretty extreme to get out of this. Here he has to chump block with this Lotus Cobra because, you know, he just sacks one thing to that Arcbound Ravager, and all of a sudden he has 3 toughness.
Mason, I see you seem a little excited about this Affinity matchup because you're an Affinity player at heart.
I am an Affinity player at heart and in reality. I love me some Affinity. For my first Modern deck, and I'm sure it'll be my last Modern deck. There may be some Modern decks in between, but.
Meanwhile, what? Oh, he jumped with Lotus Cobra, so unfortunately it's not going to get.
Mana here.
But that brings the sacks of land bring Knight of Reliquary to what, a 4/4?
I think he actually has 4. Yeah, he has 3 cards in his graveyard, so it should be a 5/5 now. He has the 2 fetches and the So unless, Brennan might just chump with that Memnite here. Or not. I mean, he doesn't have to. He's taking 5 down to 15, and his crackback is going to be huge.
Oh, but wait, there's 2 Exalted triggers.
Oh, 2 Exalted triggers. So actually...
Assuming he remembered those, that's putting him on only 13.
Right. So Brennan is going to be hitting for a lot this turn.
Yeah, Brennan's going to have a pretty serious crackback.
He is. I have to assume that Mike just puts 2... Wow, and is this another Master of Ethereum? Wow.
That's...
yeah, so Brennan just swings with the team and takes out the 2... the 2 Noble Hierarchs and gets in for 3. Unless he... Yeah, I think I agree with swinging with the Memnite. It's just 3 free damage here. And again, without those Exalted triggers.
So take 3 from Memnite.
Going down to 15 here. 14. Wow. Can I
think
count
it was
15?
18. So 15
I forgot how to count briefly.
It's a curse that afflicts us all at some time. So here comes Mike.
Another fetch land, so that grows the. And he has to leave that back on defense, and honestly, it might not be enough.
It really, I don't think it is. Especially, does he have the ability?
So those masters are 7/7s each, and then they pump each other, so they're actually 8/8s. So he's getting through with.
Oh, and he could just kill with infect damage here too. I think
9, 10/10 masters, and an even bigger Arcbound Ravager spells game over as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, if he really wanted to, he could sack Citadel for 1, Mox for 1.
The Citadel is actually adding 3 power to the board right now, though, so he doesn't really want to sack it.
He could just have killed.
Yeah, it was over 10 different ways there. Yeah, we're gonna. I don't want to rename this deck quite yet because I actually think that Mike's endgame is ramping into like a turn 3 Stormbreath Dragon, or what is the other dragon in Modern that sometimes sees play? The 5/5 with haste and deals 1 to each flyer.
Oh, Thundermaw.
Thundermaw Hellkite, yeah. So I think that's his game plan.
Well, we'll see. Let's update our match records. Brendan
We're
Walsh.
just gonna call Mike's deck Naya.
All right, so Naya's down a game, so Brendan at 1-0 in this match. If you could update that.
Yeah. Yep. Affinity takes the first game.
The trouble now is, for Brendan though, is Naya has a ton of artifact hate that potentially could be boarded in. I'm not sure all of what Mike actually is packing today, but you've got everything from Stony Silence to Destructive Revelry to Ancient Grudge to Kataki
to Shattering Spree or Creeping Corrosion.
Those are all options.
Or both.
And let's not forget, what was it? Gosh, what is that card that Burn usually plays? It's two in a red.
Wait, two in a red?
Yeah, I think.
Creeping Corrosion?
No. This is Creeping Corrosion's 2 and 2 green. In any event.
Shattering Spree. Or Shatterstorm.
Not Shatterstorm, although that's another card that he could have.
Oh, two red. 2 into 2 red?
No, just 2 and red.
Oh, I'm not sure.
Well, the point being, of course, that who knows how many cards Mike can board in to
right. And
get the best
those
of an
sideboard
artifact.
cards are really brutal against Affinity. A lot of times, you see one sideboard card and it spells the game for you. A lot of people say that Affinity's best matchup is game 1 and worst matchup is games 2 and 3.
That seems pretty good. So a few folks are asking about our giveaway. It is a foil Japanese Tech Edge.
Yeah.
And
while they're shuffling, we'll give you a view of this beautiful card and our beautiful faces. We got this foil Japanese Tectonic Edge.
So when should we give this away? We might
I think
do it
after
this
match
match
is over, we can do that raffle.
While we're looking for another match, if it goes as quickly as this first one did, then that may be the call.
Yeah.
We're looking for match number 2 in round 3.
I think it depends a lot on whether Mike hits his hate cards and Brennan's ability to draw good hands.
I mean, that was pretty close to the nut draw for Affinity.
Gosh,
right
that was crazy. There's not many decks that can beat a draw like that. It looks deceptively bad with the turn 1 play of just a Springleaf Drum. That's maybe one of the scarier plays because you know that they've kept a good hand and you know that they're going to probably go wild on turn 2, and we saw him do just that with the Cranial Plating and Arcbound Ravager.
Just too big, too fast, too strong, like they used to say. So let's go back to the match.
Yeah, it looks like they are done shuffling up and have drawn their hands. Let's reset these life totals here.
Looks like they're both on the keeps. And
see what Mike will lead off with.
All right.
A shocked Stomping Grounds.
Looks like.
And perhaps we will see a turn 1 Mana Dork.
No, he just passes a turn, it looks like.
Interesting. So
so he shocked himself for the ability to get rid of Memnite, but here's Relic and Progenitus. I'm not sure what
so that's to keep the Knight down in power, I guess. It's a reasonable card. And Mike plays a tapped Temple Gardens there. It looks like he doesn't have a terribly explosive start. Oh, it looks like he's got
Ornithopter.
Ornithopters. And there's the second land.
And here comes
and
Ravager.
Arcbound Ravager.
So
starting to get serious here, folks.
Yes. So if you're Mike, you've probably been holding up Bolt, but that doesn't
Yeah, so he has a couple of options here. He can just bolt the Ravager right now, and either either Brennan sacks his whole team to it, or he just gets a counter on another guy. Not a terrible trade, I think. Honestly.
So you would vote?
I would vote bolt the Ravager, and if I were the Affinity player, I don't know. I'd probably go all in on it.
You probably make it a 4/4.
Yeah, just make it a 4/4, and then, just hold up. We'll play another creature the next turn,
there's
and
another Ravager.
there's another Ravager. 2 Ravagers is a serious problem, because you can sack one to the other and get double the counters out of it. But at the moment, just swinging for 1. Johnny Turbo, I'm not sure if Mike is playing Path to Exiles, but it would not surprise me in the least to find out that he is. So he's sacking 1 Ornithopter to this Arcbound Ravager.
Poor Ornithopter, I feel bad for it.
So he's just going for 1 Ornithopter, and Mike is sacking a land. Let's see if he's doing this before damage. I have to assume that he is, because he's maybe playing some sort of removal spell. Pray you have Anger of the Gods? Yeah, Anger of the Gods is pretty good in this matchup, except in this situation where you have 2 Arcbound Ravagers. Those cards do not particularly care about Anger of the Gods.
Yes.
Play around it very well.
Gods can get quite angry. It's not enough to take out a 4/4 Ravager, which probably you would see if anybody tried to mess with one of them.
Quick shout out to Jallard134 for following. Welcome to our stream.
Alright.
So it looks like he was just fetching at end of turn, so he's down to 15 from the Arcbound Ravager attack. And that land is now exiled, meaning it will never improve the toughness of a Knight of the Reliquary.
Lotus Cobra.
There's the Lotus Cobra. Let's see if he has the fetch land.
Here's
Nice.
a fetch land, so landfall. 2 mana of Mike's choosing. So, Knight of the Reliquary again, or moving on to something
Definitely
else?
could be a knight. I'm not sure really what else he could be going for here. Ben2215, thanks for following.
Four mana could buy a lot of different things.
It's true, but we haven't honestly seen a lot out of what Mike's deck can do. And
Lymphala.
Lymphala, wow, that's
Activated
interesting.
abilities.
So
Do you, in response,
yeah,
start doing some sacking because otherwise, Arcbound Ravager looks pretty silly up against a 3/4 flyer.
yeah. So it looks like he is going for that, sacking the one Arcbound Ravager to the other. Is he putting all the counters on that Arcbound Ravager? Because that seems reasonable to me. You want a 4/4 in front of your 3/4, and then if he does decide to double block, then he gets to put counters on his Ornithopter while taking out that Lymphala.
So
That is a good point. He cracked a Windswept Teeth and got a mountain.
we should
Yeah, I'll go.
pause that because clearly I don't know if there's anything we can do right now at this juncture because it's been a turn cycle or more, but and we're playing at regular REL. But judge should be made aware, and we'll see what how we resolve that situation. I'm sure it's just an inadvertent error, but Ravager's coming in for 4. That seems, it's interesting. I don't know if I'm Mike Grossman, if I double block there, Obviously, I'd lose Linvala if that's the case. Is Linvala more valuable than getting Ravager off the board? That's something that I'm open to. Either side of that debate. And I think right now they're trying to explore what to do about that mountain. It seems like they're on pause for a little bit. So.
All right. So the ruling is that too much time had gone by since the fetch happened, so they are leaving it as is. An entire turn cycle had gone by, and it looks like Mike has taken 4 in the process and is down to 10 now. Is that correct?
He did not block with Arcbound Ravager.
And it looks like he Galvanic Blast.
Galvanic Blast with Metalcraft gets rid of Linvala. So Mike is in pretty poor shape against Affinity here. He's going to probably just be in chump block mode, which that doesn't even save him because at some point, if Mike wants, he can sack a bunch of things to Ravager and then sack Ravager to put all those counters on Ornithopter if he thinks the coast is clear. Now, Mike obviously still has a fair amount of cards in hand. It looks to be like 3 or 4, but are you going to risk going all in on that sort of a line where you sack a bunch of stuff to Ravager and then sack Ravager to Ornithopter at this point? Or do you just
probably not, honestly. I think at this point you just play safer. You have a big enough Ravager that it's gonna kill him in a few turns, and here's this Thundermaw Hellkite that we were talking about.
Yeah, lots of people...
I'm now going to rename his deck to Naya Dragons.
Lots of people were asking about dragons. They're like, there's no dragons there. Well, there's a dragon, Thundermaw.
Here is a dragon, Thundermaw Hellkite, and it will be dealing 1 damage to that Ornithopter and getting in for 5. So Mike has dealt his first damage of the game to Brennan, putting him to 15.
Now, do you attack with Thundermaw there? Because
honestly, I don't think so.
It seems like one of the few things that's gonna slow Ravager down. And oh no, that can't be very good.
Could spell the end of the
not
the end of the game. Well, Mike, all right. Mike is picking up his cards. Mike's seen enough, and the match will go 2-0 to Brennan Walsh.
All right. Well, sorry, Mike. The homebrew did not get there. Mason, I'm sure you love a fellow Affinity player.
I'm always happy to see Affinity players, but Mike's a friend of mine, so I'm split right down the middle.
It's always fun to see Affinity do what it does.
It is. It's
just crack skulls.
It's like a well-oiled machine, except when it's not.
Except when there's Stony Silence or any one of the half dozen hate cards that we have named.
All right.
But
let's bring us back to the booth, because I think it's time for a giveaway.
It's time for a giveaway. It's time for me to try and see if we've got another match that we can.
All right,
bring
sounds like a good plan.
Do you have the giveaway?
Yeah.
All right, so what we're gonna do is
Gillard134. We stream Modern every week on Wednesdays.
We do here at MTG Card Market.
MTG Card Market, different streamers. I will probably not be here, but
Mason came all the way down from Madison in this snow.
Yeah, it was a fun trip.
So kudos. Glad he could join it. I came from the loop, so not quite as far.
Just almost as serious of a travel, of an adventure. No, it was a fun adventure. Yeah.
All right, so we have about 26 minutes around. Yeah. Are you good with starting this raffle?
I'm going to start this raffle.
I'm going to go find a match.
Japanese Tectonic Edge. I'll be starting the raffle in just a moment, and when I do, type in !raffle to enter the raffle. We'll be drawing the raffle in a little while. Did I move to from Madison? No, I still live in Madison. I went to college in Madison, and now I've graduated. So let's open this raffle. John, I know that you want this foil Vincent Proce, and you're going to have to win the raffle. So while we are doing this raffle, Raul will be getting someone else for our Thrunda Troll. Who are you?
What's going on?
I don't know. I'm trying to determine who these people are that know me.
Oh, so you got the raffle going?
Yep, we
open?
are raffling.
Awesome. So
Give us a few minutes.
I've got a feature match.
Yeah? What's your feature match?
Okay, so we're going to have a return appearance of Mr. Andrew Hoffman. You might remember on American Control. And he is playing Sam Ives, who is on Esper Midrange.
All right.
So take one more look at this sweet Japanese tech edge foil. I think we can
be ending this raffle pretty soon, maybe like another 30 seconds. So get your raffles in. We'll be drawing this pretty soon.
And in addition to putting that exclamation raffle, you also have to be a follower of
That's
us.
right. If you're not following us, you will not win this raffle.
Sorry, guys.
You will be so sad because you'll be missing out on this beautiful foil Vincent Proce Japanese Tectonic Edge.
It's a good card.
All right. Do we know their records?
I believe
Are they 1-1 now? Or something?
they're going into game 3.
Okay. Cool.
And so both players are on 1-1.
Okay. All right. As soon as I'm done with these. All right. We got 2 followers. Big Mike Wood 5 and Furling 306. Thank you guys for following. Now you guys can win this raffle. All right.
So Hoffman's on the left there. That's Andrew Hoffman. And he's on American Control or Jessica Control.
Gotta use these clan names, you guys. And who's his opponent?
It's Sam Ives, I-V-E-S, and he is on Esper Midrange, is how he described his deck, I believe.
Silly Fan 20, thanks for following. All right. I am gonna draw this raffle, you guys. So let's see.
I think you hit close and then draw.
Close? I think we draw it first.
No, I think you close.
Close? Prenosaur, you win this raffle.
Congratulations, Prenosaur.
Prenosaur is a friend of mine.
Oh, is he?
And
Who's Prenosaur?
Prenosaur, Cole? Do you know Cole?
I don't think.
I don't think you've met Cole. He's a friend of mine in Madison.
All right, so click the announcement in chat.
All right, congrats, Prenosaur.
Thanks so much. All right, let's go to our game here.
All right, let's look at our game.
Click off booth.
Looks like just in time.
We're efficient like that. All right, so
Prenosaur, I've sent you a private message. Tell me what you Cole won the raffle. Yeah.
All right.
How do I?
Sam Ives starts with a Thoughtsy, so we're going to see what Andrew Hoffman's working with. He's got a couple of lands there. He's got Anger, Cryptic Command, looks to be Mana Leak, and I'm not sure what that other card is.
Anger of the Gods?
No, that's Anger of the Gods, Cryptic, and then I'm
Resto?
That's what it is, Resto Angel, and then Mystic. Mana Leak. What do you take here? Some
On
good
Esper
stuff.
midrange, I have to assume you take Cryptic. Well, okay. Having not seen Sam Ives' deck, it's hard to say, but Esper. Okay, so he goes for the Mana Leak.
You can make a case for, I think, taking any of those.
Yeah, those are
cards,
all of
because
them are
they're
really
all
high
powerful. They all do different things, but Mana Leak means that going away means that he's got a few more plays that are going to be unimpeded. And you can play around Resto somewhat knowing that it's there.
Same with Cryptic.
Resto's not super as powerful with no other creatures to blink.
And a Dark Confidant.
Oh, Bob. Greatness at any cost. That's what that card says.
You beat me to it.
Is this Occupado?
No.
Awesome.
And looks like he drew a Spell Snare, putting him to 17 there. And Dark Confidant's coming into the red zone. Andrew will go down to 18. Let's see if Sam has any more plays this turn. He's fetching.
So Sam will go down to 16.
And let's see, what could this be? Someone suggested Geist of St. Traft. I would be surprised if you were to play that into Anger of the Gods that he's aware of.
Yeah,
Let's see what he's got.
I think just bashing in with Dark Confidant for a while might be the play, but Resto into Thoughtseize.
Snapcaster Thoughtseize. Wow, this
That's-
is really good. If
I'm sorry.
he hits that Anger here, and it looks like Andrew's drawn nothing but lands.
So take 2 more damage to Sam Ives, but
But he's in a really good spot in terms of his
so
board.
I would take Anger as Sam does, which leaves Resto not super impressive, and Cryptic, which Cryptic may be too late when Sam's going to become crashing in for 4 next turn, and let's see, what is he trying to calculate life totals?
I think so, and he looks like he is living dangerously, waving an open pen around his Dark Confidant.
It's in sleeves, though. It's in sleeves, so
That's
it's
true.
somewhat
It's
safe.
in sleeves. So,
Alright, so here comes Steam Vents tapped, which means, again, you know, if it were Electrolyze or something that could neutralize these 2 cards, that would have been good, but it's going to be another 4 on Hoffman. And does he have another Thoughtseize or something?
Ives was at 14. What did he do? He Thoughtseize twice. Did he shock on turn 1? Yeah, okay. He's at 12. Alright, and here comes the...
Alright, so he can leave
Geist
man
of
up
St.
for
Traft.
Resto, or he can he even Cryptic? Yeah, that's
yeah, it looks like he has the mana for Cryptic.
If he wants a tap
He wants
draw.
to, a turn of tap draw does not seem where he wants to be. And drawing a Godless Shrine, I think, off of the Dark Confidant, exactly what you want to be doing with that card. Hitting land drops and drawing other cards. Right, we missed the initial shock land for the Thoughtseize on turn 1.
Okay, so here comes Resto. Resto is
I
going to
have to
chump
imagine
the
it's
angel.
blocking that Geist of St. Traft just to get it off the table, but which leaves him with the Resto and down 8 life. Not exactly where you want to be, but sometimes you got to do it. Andrew Hoffman goes down to 6 here,
Alright,
and the
But-
Geist gets eaten.
guys gets eaten. no other plays from Sam, or did he prematurely take that angel off the board? He's certainly looking at a lot of different things, and here comes Inquisition. I'm surprised he didn't just Inquisition.
Okay, so the Path to Exile is a pretty good card to hit with that.
I'm surprised he didn't Inquisition before, but just to see again what Hoffman
I think that Hoffman Path to Exiling one of his guys is better for Sam than the Resto Angel, so I can see the case for waiting until post combat. Although
looks like a Delta fetches a land, so Sam
goes down to 11. And another Dark Confidant. So the card advantage really going in Sam's favor here.
One would think that with 3 potential draws, he's going to get something that can deal with old Resto and let him swing in for 6. Of course, Hoffman's got Cryptic potentially up. All right,
Lightning
so one
Bolt
gets
towards
Bolt.
the first Dark Confidant. That's dealing with some of the problem, but really almost just stemming the... Oh, and he takes 5 off of Batterskull
yeah,
here.
but he could get a lot of that back, assuming Batterskull resolves.
But he's got a Resto Angel there. I think that Sam has to draw something pretty good off of his draw step, because he needs to deal with that Resto, because in this situation, Snap Bolts plus a hit from that Resto is game over for Ives.
Yeah, and this is one of the dangers of Dark Confidant. He could basically come close to dying on several draws that I would imagine are in his deck.
Well, there's no Force of Will in this format, so taking 5 isn't a 4 of in his deck.
It might have been that Hoffman did Sam a favor by killing that other Dark Confidant, because taking that 5-point hit and then anything else might have been
Cryptic draw on that Batterskull. Sam must have known he knew it was there, because he's seen it from
he's seen it a couple times.
Yeah, so I guess he had something that he cares about more than, and he's shocking. Wow, down to 4.
I'm not sure I understand where Sam's at, but
well, I guess he just wants that Bob eaten so he doesn't just die to it.
Yeah, but now
Andrew goes down to 4 here.
Yeah, but now Resto plus burn,
really any single piece of burn in the whole deck will
Snapcaster,
Flame Slash. Yes, Andrew has a lot of ways to win the game right here. Although Sam may be representing a Spell Snare for a Snapcaster. Hard to say.
Oh, Andrew's got his thinking cap on, literally. Wearing a hat here. It's a little chilly as far as I'm concerned, but I will not be sad to see winter go. He goes down to 3, does Andrew Hoffman, on a Flooded Strand. It's some interesting stuff here. Game 3, both these players battling to get to a 2-1 record.
So let's see what Andrew's drawn, and if it is good enough to win him the game.
He's tapping a bunch of mana, and it's Colonnade.
And that's game. Wow. Sam Ives with absolutely no way to deal with that. A Steel Shaper's Gift. Wow. Let's take a look at that card. That is Steel... There we go. Search your library for an equipment card, reveal that, and put it in your hand. So I guess he was hoping to draw the Steel Shapers instead of the Batterskull.
Yeah, that probably would have been better for him, but...
And do you recognize those? Is that like an Esper charm or something?
I'm not sure what that is. Anybody know what those top cards on Sam Ives' side of the table it might be? Nope. I thought maybe Zealous Persecution. Can you call up that card?
I don't think it's Zealous Persecution. Counter Squall? Yeah. No, I don't think that's that. We'll get Zealous Persecution. Unless it's an alternate art Zealous Persecution that I'm not aware of. No.
Maybe a couple.
May never.
They're saying.
Oh, alternate art Counter Squall. Okay, that makes sense. There we go. Okay, the original Conflux Counter Squall. Counter target non-creature spell. Its controller loses 2 life. Not bad, especially against this Jeskai deck. I can see why this is in the sideboard here. Alrighty. Well, Andrew Hoffman, his deck has looked very strong today.
Yeah, another guy who's undefeated on camera when I'm here.
Yeah.
So
Very nice.
maybe we should put him and Sydney together. And
Yeah, the battle of the undefeateds. All right. Well, while we have this break, I'm gonna take the opportunity to go. I'm gonna go get a drink.
all right.
I'll be right back.
So there's 10 minutes left. I don't
try
know.
to get another match.
It seems relatively doubtful that we can.
I'll scan
but
the
if
crowd
you,
and see
if
we
you can find one, more power to you. So people are asking why Counter Squall now, and that's a good question. I don't really have a great idea. Anybody in chat have an idea why Counter Squall may be making some noise here? I think it's a pretty good card. There's certainly a lot of non-creature spells that when you can answer it for just 2 mana, that's pretty sweet. Have a little shove of our booth. Sorry about that, guys. The camera for our matches. So it's looking like it's probably unlikely we're going to bring you a 3rd match this round. But hey, we brought you our giveaway, and we brought you two interesting matches, I think. So what more can you ask from us? Not a lot, I would tend to think. So I think that most likely we're going to take a little break for the remaining minutes in the round and come back at the beginning of round 4, refresh, get a little drink, a little bathroom break, and see what we've got going in our final round. There's bound to be a bunch of players who are undefeated who might be looking in and seeing how they're doing. We still haven't seen Infect on camera yet today. What other things do you guys want to see us try to bring you in the last round? What matches, what decks are you looking to have us put on the stream? Give us some feedback before we get what our options are, and we can hopefully shape where we go with our 4th and final round. Except if anybody asks for a 2nd round of eggs, then you're probably not going to get it. We have not seen elves. I don't think we've got Jund as a possibility. We are about to go into the 4th round. So I'm very curious how our elves player is doing. At least as of last round, we had elves. Oh, it looks like he hadn't won any games, so I don't know if that's something we're going to put on the stream or not. Elves or burn. Those are both pretty strong possibilities. We only have one elves player. I'm not sure if he's going to stick it out for the last round if he lost round 3, but if he did not, then that's certainly a possibility. Hi, Ransack82. You have me at a disadvantage. I am obviously Raul Moat. I'm one of our commentators here, along with Mason Linney, who is taking a look-see to see if there's a match we can bring you in the last few minutes, getting a drink, and taking a break. Mark 1, what are you doing on our stream? I did not realize we had that sort of reach. It's good to see you. So, what'd you see out there, Mason?
I saw very few matches being played. And no matches that were ready to move to the feature match area, unfortunately.
So it sounds like we're just going to hang out here and talk for a little bit whilst we...
Oh, why are they not looking at our beautiful faces?
I don't know. They could look at our beautiful faces. Now we're on Monster. Is one of those monsters for me, or are you...
Sure, do you want one? I had to buy two because I don't have a... only my card.
Oh.
And
I'll
I had to spend at least $5.
Cheers.
Cheers. I thought about just slamming two of them because I'm probably going to need them driving home tonight.
Oh, I didn't want to deprive... I mean, that would be the worst. You drive 4, what is it, 3 hours? 4 with snow? Is it?
It was like 4 with traffic and snow.
Okay. So drive 4 hours here, then do a great job commentating, and then high, and then yeah, I don't even like to think about that. I don't want to jinx you. So let's talk about some other stuff. You what are you doing this weekend?
We're going to that PPTQ wherever it is. I don't know. You'll have to ask Sydney. He's the one that plans all this stuff. But yeah, me and some friends and Sydney and some friends he knows are going to PPTQ. I guess in northern Illinois, somewhere between here and Madison. We're all going to be playing Burn. Zodic 32. We're located in Chicago, right on Belmont. It's right off the red line.
We're mere blocks away from the red line Belmont.
Really easy to get here. Great location. I played here all summer. I lived in Chicago last summer and played here every week, multiple times a week. It was great. It's a lot of fun.
It's a great store, along with some of the other stores we stream at. But and this Saturday, if you happen to be in board games and in the area, we're going to be playing some board games here starting at 3. So on Saturday. So 1051 West Belmont. Hope you guys can make it.
It's been a great... My favorite part was Modern FNMs. I've never played in a Modern FNM before I came here, because they were always either standard or draft in Madison. Mm-hmm. And it's great. You can win FNM promos while playing Modern. Good times.
Good times, yeah. And so, like somebody in chat mentions, this weekend's a big Modern weekend. It's SCG Open Baltimore. That's a $20,000 Modern tournament. So that should bring some innovation to the format. I know that there's been a lot of folks who were big name pros writing about Modern in the last week or two. Have you read any of these articles?
Yeah, I've read some of them, the ones complaining about Modern, or the ones defending it. Is that what you're referring to?
I'm not sure what to make of those.
Honestly, it kind of strikes me as people who feel forced to play formats that they don't particularly like, lashing out at the fact that they have to play these formats. So I guess my response is that Magic is a game that you are allowed to play. No one is making you play, except perhaps your sponsors. I guess, I don't know. No one's making you go to the Pro Tour. No one's making you go to any particular Grand Prix. Sometimes there are multiple Grand Prix in the weekend, and you can play whichever one of your 2 formats is your favorite. A lot of people complain that it's non-interactive combo or aggro decks, just kind of goldfishing against each other, and I think that's not a very accurate assessment of the format. I mean, except for the Eggs match that we watched, all of our matches have had at least some amount of interaction, and definitely a lot of back and forth. Like that last match, honestly, it switched twice a turn who you thought was going to win. And then, yeah, I think it's a format that has more depth than some of these people who maybe only play it once or twice a year are giving credit.
Yeah, the thing that gets me is I'm not quite sure I understand any of their solutions to the alleged problem, you know?
Oh, yeah, I've seen some ridiculous solutions. Ban Metamorphose.
20 card sideboards, like...
Yeah, it's...
The problem...
It's crazy.
If the problem is that there are lots of sideboard options already that, you know, just make certain decks lose, why would you want 20 card sideboards to make it so that it's increasingly likely that some decks just fold to whatever sideboard hate you have?
Right, and Magic, or well, at least Modern, has some really backbreaking sideboard cards. Like, in any particular matchup, there are sideboard cards that end the game on the spot. A lot of the, and I can't exactly complain because Affinity is a very powerful deck, but a lot of Affinity hate cards, you play against them and your chances of winning go to basically maybe like 10 or 20%. Oh, it's
Where do we...
the one with a bunch of numbers.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going into round 4 here. Sorry about that, guys. Alright. Let's quickly reset these. Yeah, Blood Moon is another example. Certain decks just cannot beat a resolved Blood Moon. And, you know, when every deck can play, like, 4 Blood Moon, or, you know, any deck that wants to play it can play, like, 4 Blood Moon and, like, 4 other hate cards and a spattering of other cards that just end games for that particular deck, then you make it really hard for those decks to ever win post-board games because of how consistently you'll be able to see that hate. I think one thing that I will kind of agree with is that there is a sort of lack of cards that are universally applicable as sideboard cards. Like cards with a broad range of applications. Like Stony Silence is really only good against Affinity and maybe Tron players and random Eggs players. So, you know, you have to bring these cards because if you play against Affinity, you'll lose if you don't have good sideboard cards against them. But they might just be dead. So I don't have a good answer for this, but when people are calling for more broad answers to the various decks, it's a point of view that I can understand. Yeah, Relic of Progenitus is a very versatile sideboard card, and a lot of graveyard hate cards are, I think, really good sideboard cards in Modern because a lot of decks are really hurt by having their graveyard interacted with, and to some extent. All these Abzan decks are like these decks with black-green bases. Like a lot of Storm decks need cards in their graveyard. There's a lot of different decks that really want cards in their graveyard.
All right,
guys, we've got
Here's
final
Judge
pairings.
Sherwin.
Who do we want to see?
So apparently it wasn't Merfolk. It was something else.
It was Affinity, it looked like.
I thought
we
I
have,
told you the wrong deck name.
see, we have a
He
few.
decided-
Who are our 3 and O's?
so
And
we've
then
got...
9 points.
I assume they're just going to ID, right?
Yeah, quite a few of them. So I wouldn't suggest that.
Sure. So, who has any
we
interest in seeing one of the...
So we've got a couple of folks here on 2 and 1 that we could see. Let's see. We already saw Alex, and I'm not sure what
We haven't seen
Tony
an Infect
is
deck
on.
or like an Elves or Storm.
Joe and Phil Silverman's on, I think, Twin of some.
That sounds about right.
Some sort. And I'm not sure.
Snapcaster.
I'm not sure what Joe is on.
Joe.
Joe Cheney.
Ooh. Yeah, I can't put
Why don't we try that?
Sure, when you're someone's saying hi to you, Ransack82 is giving you a shout out.
That's Mark Wanich.
Oh, Mark Wanich, sweet.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Yeah, like what's he?
Hi, Mark.
Yeah, hi, Mark.
So
He's watching us all the way from Ohio, I think.
yeah, actually, where are you these days? Are you in Washington D.C., Mark?
Bigger Kahuna, I kind of agree with that.
Anyway, what match we got?
Yeah, who do we want? The matchup?
Let's see. So who's on Infect here? Here we've got Matt.
Megan is on Infect.
Matt or Megan?
There's one more. Megan Frankel.
Matt versus Mike. Is that Matt versus Michael Grossman?
Let's see. Yeah, let's have Michael Grossman back on. Matt and Michael, I think.
Megan.
Infectors, yeah.
Michael Grossman and Matthew Barbucci. Oh,
There are no
Matthew,
Tezzeret decks, unfortunately.
Yeah, Matthew, I think.
Tezzeret is an interesting.
Okay.
It's an interesting deck that I haven't seen in a while.
All right, guys. So we're gonna give Naya Dragons another shot here.
One more shot.
And it's gonna be playing, I believe, against Infect.
Yeah. So this should be interesting because I think it's going to revolve around whether or not Michael Grossman decided to put Path to Exile in his deck. We'll see. This should be interesting. There's no Loam decks, unfortunately. That would also be interesting.
All right, so let's see if we can update our potential match.
Looks like Mike's on the right again. Perfect.
Yeah.
Left player, deck name, Infect. Who is this player?
It's Matthew
Okay, yeah.
Barbucci. And we get to use our Infect.
Oh yeah, our
stats.
poison counters. Can't wait.
Pretty psyched.
I think it's worth capitalizing that there.
All right, and I believe that both these people are on 2-1.
Okay, let's start this round clock. There we go. Seems about right.
2-1.
No draws here.
So this is my first time having Infect on camera on the 3 times I've been doing this comment. And we all know that Infect can just come out of nowhere and just be like, bang, you're dead.
Yeah, I'm worried that without any Path of Exiles out of Mike, that he might just fall prey to, these turns where Infect just slams a bunch of creatures, or a bunch of pump spells on its one guy and ends the game. Ooh, looks like a terrible roll for Matthew. Let's see how this influences.
The old beaten on one die.
And Mike rolls a 10, a powerful roll. Yeah, we should definitely prepare to have another match lined up because I don't expect this one to take the full time.
I'm hoping that Mike manages to avenge his earlier defeat on camera.
So I guess we don't even have to bother with Mike's life total this time. I mean,
well,
we can keep track of it, but
I guess it won't change that much.
Like he's going down to 6. All right, Zephyr 1319, Major Barrett, Ransack 82. Thank you guys for following. Let's see if I missed anyone. Nope, that's it. May have thanked you guys already, but thanks again if I did. We always appreciate you guys tuning into our stream and enjoying some Magic brought to you by MTG Card Market. A great place to play Magic and buy cards.
And drink Monster.
And drink Monster Energy. Matthew could win with a Noble Hierarch beatdown. I've actually seen that. Infect.
Having to go to the life
route.
plan.
It's serious. I mean, if nothing's going on in a game, you can just burn a bunch of pump spells on your normal damage dudes and win the game that way.
You know what I don't think he's going to win with is Counter Squall. So
I agree. Let's look at my favorite.
Inkmoth
Nexus, because it's also my favorite deck, Affinity. Inkmoth Nexus. Probably one of, and a Cavern of Souls. Naming Bird?
I'm not sure. I don't think he's going to have to worry too much about counter spells from Matthew, but...
Okay, Birds of Paradise is a bird, so confirming here, folks, we have a Cavern of Souls naming Bird.
We do not actually know that it's naming Bird.
It has to, because he can't cast it otherwise.
Oh, that's right.
It doesn't make colored mana. He has to be naming Bird.
That's hilarious.
So it looks like Matthew's shocking down. That's not right. Shocking down to 18 for this.
All right, Battle of the Mana Dorks. One gives Exalted.
Yeah, the considerably more powerful one, I believe, is the... And another bird. Wow, I guess this cavern play was really where it's at.
Nobody's countering either of those Birds of Paradises. How do you like me now, Matthew?
It's got he has... There's just a one-lander here.
Oh.
No. I guess it wasn't a one-lander.
He's slow rolling the
it looks like he didn't have any green mana. So, has to name the bird.
Yeah. All right, so Thundermaw turned...
Mike Grossman confirmed Birdman Jr. And wow... Matthew probably with the best turn 1 and turn 2 plays he could do, which is turn 1 Noble Hierarch and having an Inkmoth on the field on turn 2. Really powerful here.
Alright, so which is the definitive better version of Birds of Paradise? Because some people in the stream are saying for shame he's rocking what looks to be, I believe, the 7th edition Birds, and then he's also rocking the Return to Ravnica Birds. So, and that's...
Both are beautiful birds.
I think that the 7th edition clearly has the advantage despite being white bordered.
I think it really depends on how long you've been playing, because for many players who've been playing like as long as I have, the Ravnica bird is like really the iconic one because it's the one you always see.
Oh, you're just a youngin'.
I'm a youngin'. I will admit it. I will absolutely admit that I am a relative newbie to Magic the Gathering. So it looks like he's shocking for that.
Alright, is this
lots of mana
time?
here. Stormbreath Dragon. Actually, probably the worst of the two. I think he wants that extra point of damage to put this game away. Oh, and it gets the Exalted trigger too, so it's actually... one more point of damage.
Plus, with all the mana he has, bring up Stormbreath. It takes 7 monstrous.
Mana. Yeah, so that monstrous ability actually potentially coming into play here. If he does one more mana source, all of a sudden this Stormbreath Dragon is going to be swinging for 8, and it'll deal however many cards Matthew has in his hand at the time. That could be a really big hit. I imagine that Matthew actually wants to just empty his hand this turn because, well, for one thing, Mike is tapped out. Other than that, well, he could be representing Path to Exile, but I imagine that he wants to unload his hand so that he takes as little damage as possible from that Stormbreath Dragon. And just hope to dodge Path to Exile. I have to imagine that he has Vines of the Vastwood to protect it.
Inkmoth Nexus might have something to say about this. It could be on chump duty or depending on how many pump spells he has. It could be on kill, Stormbreath duty. That's, of course, assuming Mike does not have the chance to make it monstrous next turn. So Matthew's taking some time in the tank to try and figure out what to do about the Storm Breath, which doesn't.
Well,
quite
again, there's the very real possibility that Matthew wins the game on this
right
turn.
here.
So if he has the right number of pump spells, he really just needs 8 damage, 8 power worth of pump spells.
It looks like he
So it
just
looks like he's
passed
just,
the
yeah,
turn
letting
though
it-
with putting 2 poison
So
on.
2 poison. 2 path. Mike shows us 2 Path to Exiles, which I don't know if he should have done that because I think that really lets Matthew know that he's got something
negatory.
Okay, well, it could either be something really good or really bad, in Matthew's eyes. So it's mind games here, showing the camera those Path to Exiles. Yeah, let's see. I mean, if he has double white here, so okay, he actually is thinking about pathing that right now. Which is good. I think you definitely want to path it on your turn because if he has the vines, then, then it's just a blowout. And he gets an extra 4 damage, or 4 poison. But if he vines on Mike's turn, then the vines is really just countering the path. But no.
So do you already? He just swung with
He
Storm
doesn't
Breath?
search. He doesn't search for a basic. I guess he doesn't have any others. Yeah, so Matthew's taking 5 points of damage from that Storm Breath Dragon. It's down to a dangerous 8, actually. And a Lightning Bolt plus another swing from that Storm Breath could be lethal.
So animate old Inkmoth. Inkmoth might be finding a trip to exile here.
Yeah, see, depending on Matthew's the cards in his hand.
So
So
that's
right
2
now
poison.
it's 2 coming in.
Oh, Birds just...
And Birds just says, I will sit in front of this Inkmoth Nexus. I need to do nothing else. That's exactly what it does.
So I guess he's not on the let's turn Storm Breath monstrous plan.
And a Glistener Elf.
Alright.
Not looking...
That's not going to change much
Actually,
for
looking...
Infect.
Yeah. Looking pretty good here for Mike Grossman, as he has the blockers to sit in front of all of Matthew's creatures, plus the Path to Exile.
Well, here's the thing though. If he swings with, if Grossman swings with Storm Breath and doesn't monstrous, that's just another 5 damage. So Matthew would have 1 more chance to get in here. I don't know what pump spells he has in hand. I think somebody
also
from
assuming that Mike doesn't draw up just a lightning bolt to.
To
It looks
end
like he
it?
didn't. We know that his last card is a Path to Exile. So Matthew does get another turn, but Mike has enough creatures to just put in front of. Mike has enough creatures just to put in front of Matthew's that I don't think the game ends here.
Yeah, Matthew's at 3, so even if Matthew swings with both Infect creatures, animating of course Inkmoth, he can just go block on with Bird and Noble,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't look like there's a way for him to get across. Now, of course, if I don't know if Matthew's rocking any sort of removal spells for one of those guys, but even if he were, I don't know if that's changes
So
things
I have to
fundamental.
assume that Mike just puts a Noble Hierarch in front of it. That's fair because he doesn't need the Exalted triggers anymore.
Mm-hmm. But by the way, Matthew should be at 3, I believe.
3, yes, sir.
So here's
And-
a token effort. I don't even know if you.
So he blocks with... Actually, this is interesting. Well, we know Mike has the Path, which is the trump card here, but imagining that he didn't, Matthew
animate.
blocks with the Inkmoth and then attacks next turn with his unblockable creature, potentially for the win, if he has the vines.
And here's Path.
So and then he just fires that Path at that
Fire to
Inkmoth
block
Nexus.
and-
But then let's see, maybe
Does he
he
have
has
no,
doesn't. He either doesn't have a vines or he doesn't.
He didn't
want to
have the
burn it on
mana
it.
for
Okay.
Vines, even if he had in hand.
Right.
So Michael Grossman takes down game 1 of this, so the match record should be 0-1. Michael.
Oh yeah.
And so now we're on sideboarding time. Poison equals 0. I love our poison counter. I'm glad that we're getting to deploy that.
Thank goodness. So, Naya Dragons takes its first game on camera in pretty spectacular fashion. I mean, it goes to show how powerful one Stormbreath Dragon can be. It really took the game just on its own. With a little bit of help from
his friends,
from his good friend Noble Hierarch.
Noble Hierarch is a good man, accelerating mana, giving +1/+1 on the attacks. Hey Mason, can you pull up Vines of Vastwood?
Yeah.
I just am spacing out on what all that card does.
Right, it does. It is hard to remember. I can never remember if it's the kicker that pumps it or if it's the kicker that gives it can't be targeted. But yeah, green mana instant. Target creature can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. Really powerful because you can, in the Infect Mirror Match, because you can cast it on your opponent's creatures.
Yeah, in answer to Ransac's question, we are at regular REL, so no deck lists from anybody, but if you'd like, I'm sure afterwards we can ask Mike what exactly he's rocking.
Yeah, we can have him
his
come for
75.
For
a deck
deck tech, yeah. Mike Grossman deck tech.
So we've got at least a couple people who are interested in knowing what his deck list is. So
yeah, I've played against a version of this deck before.
You have?
Yeah, over the summer I've played it a couple times. Mike's played a few decks. He's played this. He's played like Slivers that I'm aware of.
I kind of want to play Slivers. Slivers seems like it would be
I've
fun.
heard it's just a worse. I think it's just a worse version of Merfolk.
Yeah, but they're Slivers.
There's no denying that Slivers have this certain quality to them that, you know.
It's just like, I beat you with Slivers, sir.
Yeah, absolutely.
All 5 colors of the rainbow.
Yeah.
Came together.
Play 4 Cavernous Souls.
And beat you down.
Sliver, what is that? Sliver Hive?
Sliver Hive now. You got Hive Lord. You've got Queen.
I mean that's pretty
well,
good.
Not Queen in Modern, but
Sliver. Well, you have the Sliver Hive Lord.
Sliver Legion is, I believe, available to you.
The winner gets some amount of packs Jumpy 2K6, and I'm not exactly sure what that price structure is, but
I don't know off the top of my head either, but it's based on players. I believe today we've got 28 players.
28, that's a pretty good sized modern tourney for a weekday.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy here at MTG Card Market. Yesterday, it's a random Tuesday. They had 40 people for draft. Five pods of 8.
That's crazy. That sounds like hell for me, but I bet that was really awesome.
Yeah. So I believe it's some amount of store credit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, or
sure
packs.
How much.
I think it is in packs for these modern events.
I'm not 100% sure. I'm sure we can ask at some point Sherwin and find out.
Absorb 1. Ransack82, you're going to have to give me a card name so I can look up what Absorb 1 means.
I believe that may be Limb Sliver.
What? Limb Sliver?
Lymph. Lym.
Alright. Absorb 1. So it's deal damage. Okay, interesting. I had no idea. I know I'm dating myself, but I had no idea that was a keyword.
It really isn't, because as you can see, it's from future sites.
So it's entirely made up.
So
someday we're going to be getting Absorb.
Someday, besides that set, we might have.
I bet that's what's coming in Dragons of Tarkir. I bet we're getting Absorb. The Absorb mechanic.
I would like to see Slivers make a comeback in Dragons of Tarkir.
Slivers,
the fact that Dragons
exist
in that plane now means that Slivers also exist in that plane. That would be amusing. Yeah. All right, so back to the match.
Ransack82, no deck with Or sorry, Gore Freeman. No deck with Aether Vial scoops to a Blood Moon. That's a fact.
That is also a fact. All right, so it looks like Michael Grossman's keeping his 7. Matthew is going down to 6.
Down to 6. Do you know if the Infect needs a 7-card hand to go off on turn 2? Because so you need at least a land, a Glistener Elf, Might of Old Corrosa, and 2 mutagenic growths. Right? No, I guess you need 3 mutagenic growths.
I think at turn 2.
You can turn 2.
Turn 2 is kind of a lot to ask of Infect. Even
I don't think it's
play.
so much to ask. I mean, it's just multiple mutagenic growths. Also a turn 1 guy.
I'm not gonna be that greedy, and neither is Matthew Barbuccia.
This still could be a turn 2.
I'm not gonna be turn 2.
I'm gonna hold that judgment and see.
I'm pretty sure that turn 2 he can only activate Inkmoth, and
that's true. He doesn't have the mana.
And that would be the most that damage that you could do, but.
So Mike Grossman has shocked down to 18 to represent Burning Path. And
I'm pretty sure he's worried about that damage. Here comes Lotus Cobra.
Now is down to 17, having tapped his...
I'd say that this is another one of the good feelings in Magic, just being like, I can lose all the life I want.
Oh, it's wonderful until you realize you're at 8 life and you're staring down an empty board with a
with Noble Hierarch.
With a Noble Hierarch and a rack full of... Yeah.
There is a price to pay at some point, but I'm pretty sure Mike Grossman is not going to be paying it today, at least not with the Lotus Cobra hanging around. Accelerating there to possibly do chump duty if it should get to the point of good old Noble Hierarch from Matthew bringing beats. Alright, so a couple breeding pools.
Alright, looks like is Matthew shocked twice? I think he's shocked at least once. I don't know if that's second. Or wait, no, he fetched. He fetched, so I think he's at 17. One shock and one fetch for a tap land. That seems right to me. Not entirely sure.
Oh, here comes Might of
Old Corrosa. It is, I assume, the main phase, so he will be dealing 5 poison. That is half of the poison you need. Alright, he's halfway there. Let's see if he can pull out the...
Living on a prayer.
the other 5 points of poison damage.
How many hands does Matthew have? How many cards does Matthew have in hand, rather?
Looks like 3 or 4. And
right,
it looks like Mike is fetching. So if he fetches for something, he can...
And he's got 2... So with Lotus Cobra, he's going to get 2 mana of his choice. Plus he has all those manas. Lots of things he could do with 5 mana. Better Skull? What will you think he's got here?
I have to assume he's got one of his, the deck's famous for dragons, so
it could have Thundermaw, or
it could be a...
It looks to
it's
be
a
Thundermaw.
All right, so looks like Mike will be cracking in for 7.
Or does he just stay put? Because
that's true.
He's got to be.
So it looks like he is relegating that
Thundermaw on blocking duty.
To blocking. Interesting choice.
Well, you got to be scared when you're at 5 Infect, and it looks like he's got
true.
4 cards in hand or 5.
Looks like I can't tell whether it's 4 or 5, but yeah, we have to assume it. Looks like one of those is a
At least one
stomping
of those
grounds.
is. Yeah, but at
playing
least
Red
one of those is a pump spell.
Yeah, which makes this very scary for Mike. But if he does attack here, then either he's spending 2 to 3 cards to trade with that Hellkite, or he's just
he shocks himself down to 13, and he's like, I've got no fear.
he is not afraid of that Thundermaw. The Thundermaw
Blam
snap blocks
blam.
and double Groundswell. So he's trading 2 Groundswells for that.
To clear the skies out.
Yeah, interesting choice, and I think it's a fair call. I think it's a fair trade, because if Mike is in a position where he wants to block with the Thundermaw, then I don't know. I think it's pretty reasonable to assume that he doesn't have any removal to point at that Inkmoth. So if it takes 5 turns to poison Mike.
Thundermaw's like, Coach,
So
what
be
are
it.
you doing?
This is not.
I want to
this
go
is
to red
not my
zone. And he's like, nay, I've got to.
I've got different plans for you, Thundermaw Hellkite.
You, sir, are going to preserve my poison total. But so
Getting a nice 2-for-1 there, not the worst situation.
yeah, but
And
does he have any
shocking
more
for
dragons?
stomping grounds. That's true. Eventually, as much as we'd love to play, 20 dragons in the deck, I have to imagine that
Well, here comes another
there's
dragon
6 mana here.
on blocking duty.
6 mana for what'll it be?
Oh, it's a relic.
Aurelia!
Dragons and
Aurelia!
Angels. This should be really Dragons and Angels because it's rocking Aurelia, the War Leader, and
Wow.
it's also got
Okay.
Linvala.
Flying Vigilance Haste.
I have to applaud.
Matthew's giving us a look. Wow.
Matthew was like, can you believe this shiznit?
Alright, so Matthew takes 5 in this first crack here. Down to 8. Matthew's like, I cannot believe I'm losing this game. And is that another attack? I think that's 2 attacks, which puts him to 3. I have to say, when I drove 4 hours from Madison to Chicago, the last thing I expected to see was Aurelia the War Leader cast.
You predicted this. You're like, I'm gonna see
Aurelia.
Aurelia. It's gonna.
I just know it.
It's gonna make this 4 hours worth every minute.
Wow. Flying Vigilance. It doesn't have first strike though.
I do have to feel for Matthew because now
Down to 2.
now he's just on 2. Inkmoth Nexus was thinking, I'm gonna get the job done, and now Aurelia is pretty much foreclosing that possibility.
Wow. I think Matthew is in the same boat as I am. I think this was really the absolute last thing that he expected to see, except maybe against Maze's End in Modern. I have played against Maze's End in Modern once.
Just once.
Just exactly once. It was at an IQ, SCG IQ, I want to say, and I was scrubbing out as usual. I either do okay in tournaments or I completely scrub out, and this was one of the latter times. And
all right, so not daunted by that big angel, here comes Inkmoth Nexus. Does
Putting
Matthew
that
have a whole
Aurelia.
bunch of pump spells to throw and get rid of the 3/4s?
And even if he does, what does he do? He's dead on board to the
to the
Lotus
Lotus
Cobra.
Well,
What does Matthew do here?
he's gonna get.
All right, he makes that huge.
That is one immense.
But yeah, it's an immense. Inkmoth Nexus, and it will deal with that Aurelia. So half of the creatures down. Let's see if he can deal with the other half.
All right, so it doesn't have Give Trample. Does Matthew have something to withstand the onslaught of Lotus Cobra? Lotus Cobra trying to do work here. It accelerated into dragons and angels, and now it's poised to do the last 2 damage. Mike Grossman once again Noble Heart, so it's going to do 3 damage if Matthew has nothing to say about it. It'd be nice if he tapped some. I think
it's another.
It would be nice if he tapped for some mana.
Matthew extends the hand. Wow, that was the exact opposite of how I expected that match to go. I have to say, I am really surprised.
Oh my goodness! Sorry, so our match records.
Comrade Squawks. I think that he had to fetch to pay for, to pay the delve cost on that Become Immense, without tapping his other lands, yeah. So he brings in. Whoa! Okay, so he brings in Simeon's Spirit Guide, Stomping Grounds, and that card gives Double Strike and Trample. If that's what card is that? I know what it does. I just can't think of what it is. What? If anyone in the chat knows that, Temur Warcharge.
Or Battle Rage. There we go.
All right, so this is what Matthew is playing red for. Target creature gains Double Strike until end of turn. That creature also gains Trample if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. So we have to assume that he spends like a Groundswell or a Might of Old Corrosa and then a Temur Battle Rage, and it's over.
You're dead.
Wow.
You're dead. All right, so
that's 10 Infect with Trample.
So Mike Grossman wins the.
Mike Grossman wins that match in a spectacular fashion thanks to Aurelia the War Leader.
All right, so
not what I expected to see tonight.
Let me go see if we can find another match to put on camera here.
All right.
And I might also try to get Mike Grossman to join us for a little exploration of his deck. Be right back.
All right, so folks in chat, I want you to comment on, vote 1 to 10 on whether you expected to see Aurelia, the War Leader here, where 1 is, not in a million years, and 10 is I just saw Aurelia, the War Leader. What are you guys thinking? I'm in shock. That was a spectacular game of Magic. I would love to see Aurelia on the Modern Pro Tour. That would really shake up the format. All of these pros who don't seem to like Modern that much just need to start playing Aurelia. Need to start playing. One is I don't know. I didn't really think this scale through. Comrade Squawks. I'm just so in shock that we saw an Aurelia. So I'm also going to be renaming Mike's deck list while it's still up there to give it a more accurate name. Alright, now we have a much more descriptive title of what Mike Grossman was just playing to a 2-0 record and a 3 in that match and a 3-1 record overall. Very impressive.
All right.
So it looks like Raul has gotten another match for us.
So yes, we're going to have Mike. 2 of our previous on-camera folks. Here we're going to have Zach Whitten and we're going to have Martin.
All right.
Zach is.
Who's left?
Zach is on the left, I believe, and I'm spacing on which.
Martin.
I think he's. Meanwhile, we brought back with us Michael Grossman to talk a little bit about his Naya Dragons and I guess it's Naya Dragons and Angels. Really, What do you got going on there, Michael?
Hey, so it is based around there are 4 Lotus Cobras, 4 Noble Hierarchs, 4 Birds of Paradise, 4 Knight of the Reliquary, 4 Thunder Maws, and I've got some Loxodon, whatever those things are called, Smiters.
Smiters. Okay.
And a couple of Aurelias, a couple of Storm Breaths, because I can't have 12 Thunder Maws.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You could. It just would be very, very bad for you.
Yeah. I would attempt to avoid the camera matches at that point. So, and then there's some bolts and some paths. And so the idea is that I ideally what the deck wants to do is a turn 1 Mana Dork, turn 2 before playing my land. I'm putting down Lotus Cobra, and then throwing down a fetch land to bring out either Knight of the Reliquary or a Loxodon Smiter. So on the board, there's going to be, at the end of turn 2, would be 2 lands, a Mana Dork, a Lotus Cobra, and a Smiter or Knight of the Reliquary. On turn 3, that'll go into a Thundermaw or an Aurelia.
We were losing it back here, and so was the chat when we saw that Aurelia. That was fantastic.
Oh, nice. It's
Yeah.
She
Is it how many Aurelias do you play?
I play 2 main. I often go
Okay.
down to 1 after side.
That seems reasonable.
All right, nice.
But
So what are your good matchups? What are your bad matchups? Or
apparently,
is this
Infect,
just
I honestly I was surprised to see that Infect went 2-0 in your favor. I thought that they might be a little fast for you, but I mean obviously you got the right amount of removal and just like jump blockers to race a deck that's known for its speed.
Thanks. So I think that Infect is a pretty good matchup for me. American Control has traditionally been my worst matchup. I've gone at times up to 4 chokes in sideboard to deal with American Control.
Choke is such an unfair card.
What is Zach on?
Choke.
Do you know what Zach's on?
We'll
we'll
had
figure it
him
out.
on camera, didn't we, earlier today?
I'm sure
And
we
just,
did.
Just
I've forgotten.
spacing it. But yeah, so how many times you brought this deck out, Mike?
So this was actually my primary deck until a couple months ago, until everybody started playing blue because of all the card draw. Blue is my weakest matchup with this deck, like that color, and now that the Delve cards have been banned, I decided to bring it back out again. I went 3-1 tonight. That's pretty much typical. I'd say that's average with this deck.
Wow, I'd like to have 3-1 be average
Yeah.
for a deck I play, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah, congrats.
Thanks.
Alright, so if people are interested, we might try to get like a written deck list and post it to the WUBRGxyz site at some point, like we've done other deck lists. But for now, let's get to this match. It's going to be Zach winning, and
Yes,
Martin,
Mike.
thanks so much, Mike, for coming back and indulging some of our curiosity about the deck. It's a sweet deck. I that moment was one of my favorite little kid moments when you see Aurelia. It's like Mike's poison totals half gone, but there's Aurelia. So and poor. Your opponent just was like, what am I supposed to do? And Matthew's, I don't know if you saw him look at the camera, it was like, really? So, anyways, looks like...
Oh, it looks like whatever Zach is playing. Zach is twins.
He's on some twin variant.
And it looks like he is down to 5 cards. That is not where you want to be with twin.
But the thing about it is he's facing Eggs, and Eggs takes a while to set up. So,
Yeah.
So, if you're going to have to multiply that low, I suppose Eggs is as good a deck as any to do that with.
Alright, so it looks like Martin is just setting up, and Zach is trying to salvage what he can out of his 5-card hand. Looks like he has a Deceiver and a Pestermite. I didn't get to see what else there was, but that's not the worst that you could have. Looks like maybe a negate.
Well, he lets Thoughtcast resolve, which if I had negate, I probably would not.
Yeah.
But
Interesting.
You're already down some cards to Martin. Why would you give him a chance to draw 2 more if you could stop it? But Zach might be taking a very different line from what I think I would do.
All right, let's look at a card that one of these decks are playing. Splinter Twin. Anyone familiar with the modern format, even remotely, is familiar with this card. Cornerstone card of the Splinter Twin deck. If anyone is somehow not familiar with Modern but watching us, welcome. Welcome to Modern. This is one of the premier decks in this format. And it involves the card that Zach has just played, which has an Enter the Battlefield trigger of tap or untap target permanent. You enchant that card with Splinter Twin, and you make infinite copies of it.
And here comes with Ironworks.
Perhaps, yep. An Ironworks from Martin. This is, one of the cards that Martin needs to start really going off.
Now,
Gavitron, the raffle did already happen after the end of the previous round.
so here comes some sackage. He's going to use the 2 from that first sack to put out Mind Stone, tap Mind Stone for a mana. Sack it. Now he's on 3.
Torpor Orb. Just the card he wants to see against Twin.
It's not bad. So he's got some Twin protection, and he's got a lot of mana. He's sacking all these cards. He's got Tyrion online to filter some of that mana, and that's what he's doing now. So he filters
Probably
that.
making white, I assume?
I would
To
assume
play
so.
that one card that this deck plays.
So open the vaults
No?
is perhaps
Chromatic
on.
Star. Generating a mana.
So he's
And
drawing.
drawing a card.
Oh, here's Icar Wellspring sacking that.
So all of his 2-mana artifacts are essentially free, and when they cantrip, that's pretty good.
So Zach Whitten, he tapped out to play Deceiver Exarch, and that may not have been the route that would have been best, because here comes Open the Vaults.
And all these artifacts come back.
Hey Zach, you can put all your artifacts back too. Oh wait, you don't have any. So
Alright, so some Enter the Battlefield triggers from Martin.
So he's still got 4 floating according to his die. He sacks to Tyrion, draws a card.
And so this is the point where we get to figure out how Martin actually wins the game, which I think is some big burn spell or something.
I think there are different kills that he can do.
Yeah.
Like you said, a big burn spell is certainly one option that's there. And there's 9 minutes left in the round. It's entirely possible for Martin
to spend this entire time going off. Martin has shown that he is pretty experienced with the deck, pretty confident in his plays, and is playing at a reasonable pace. But still, this Eggs deck just takes so long to do anything of actual relevance that it was banned into relative obscurity. So, getting a lot of value out of these Mox Opals. Making tons of mana here. Drawing tons of cards. Probably gone through about half his deck. It looks like he maybe only has a 20-card deck at this point. And considering his options.
So he can filter through the stars just to get a couple more card draws. Meanwhile, Zach is fiddling with
spinning around his Pestermites, moving his lands all around. Nice line of defense there. Martin producing multiple colors of mana. So he has 8, 13. He has 15 mana in his pool right now, 2 of which is some color. I have to assume white and blue. Perhaps not. Yeah, I have to imagine he's digging for whatever one card in his deck wins the game, however it does so.
Oftentimes do Banefire.
Yeah. We don't know what Martin's win con is because we've never seen him win.
That seems like such a harsh way to put it, but it's true.
It's true. He 0-2'd in the match that we watched him play against Tron. It was an interesting match. We got to see Ugin Ultimate.
There's Banefire.
There's a Banefire, and that looks like game for Martin, leading him to a 2-2 finish overall. So congrats to him for the solid finish with a relatively unpopular deck.
Unconventional. Let's
Unconventional, sure. I mean unpopular in the sense that there aren't a lot of players playing it.
So, well, Zach, I was hoping that you could break your streak of losing while you were on camera and I was commentating.
Fortunately, it did not happen.
But you are now 0-3 for matches that I've got you on camera, and
I'm sure he'll break the streak eventually. It can't be too hard playing Splinter Twin.
I suppose so. But the first time I saw him, he was on the first time I saw him, he was on the mirror match against Sydney, and Sydney took it down.
Very quickly, I feel like you're going to tell a story, so before you do that, I want to give a quick shout out to NFD for following us. Thanks for the follow.
Yeah, thanks for the follow. I've been asked by one of my fellow judges what is my favorite high tide story, and the answer is I have no favorite high tide stories because I also
that was a shorter story than
I also hate that deck. But you know, it's one of those decks like Eggs, when somebody is competent. Like, there are a few folks who play that deck.
If you're Feline Longmore.
Yes, exactly. That was one of the people I was exactly thinking of. Who, they know what they're doing. They manage to move through all the steps of their turn really efficiently, and they can pilot the deck really well. Then it's a fun deck to watch people do well with. But I don't play Magic all that much in terms of constructed formats, but if I ever did against High Tide, I'd be like, you win this round. I just will not want to sit here.
Don't want to deal with that.
Exactly. I'm willing to scoop to just about any High Tide player I face. Assuming it's not. If I'm on something like Burn and I don't have like the perfecto hand where I burn you out like turn 3 or turn 4, I'm perfectly willing to skip. Somebody, Johnny Turbo asks if I've ever DQ'd somebody from bringing 4 horsemen to a legacy tournament. I have actually never seen that deck in operation. And I don't think you can necessarily DQ somebody for that deck choice. You can warn somebody in Oblivion for trying to play that deck and play it improperly. But as I understand it revolves around a loop, and people can't just say I loop this loop until I get to X game state. You have to say I loop a certain amount of times, is my understanding. So,
So just a quick brag. I'm the proud new owner of 2 Netherlands planes.
what?
It's my crowning achievement.
I didn't know there were such things.
Yeah, they are the Eurolands, and they're like impossible.
These are
to
the
find in
summer
United
things?
States. Yeah, no.
Oh.
So there's the like the APAC lands, which Asia Pacific lands, and the Eurolands. Each of them representing like a specific country.
Oh, okay.
So there's
Does it like say on them that they're
yeah,
Netherlands?
Lowlands, Netherlands below the
Nice.
artist name.
Congratulations.
My crowning achievement. I hope to someday own more than 2. Yeah, the ones with the windmills and the tulips. It's beautiful. I'm a big fan of the Netherlands.
How much are those?
In the U.S. they go. Well, I don't actually know because I can't find them for sale anywhere in the United States. But like SCG prices for them are like $25. But apparently Sydney got these in Singapore for like $5 each.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
So,
sweet deal.
as much as I love Sydney, I do have a bone to pick with him. He like raised my hopes up. Everybody knows the unglued lands and the unhinged lands are pretty darn sweet.
Yeah.
But they also cost like $5 a pop.
Yeah.
And so that is probably more than I'm willing to pay for your even sweet basic lands.
Yeah.
And he raised my hopes up. He was like, "Oh, in Singapore we have them for 50 cents." I was like, "Well, tell me more."
Yeah, I don't know how Singapore is getting all these sweet basic lands. I'm sure they've got like guru lands for like $1 a piece or something.
So
I don't know.
Singapore, the real land of opportunity.
Right.
So it's like
The land of lands.
bring me back all the unhinged lands that you can get your hands on, and then so he goes to Singapore, and I'm like, well, "Where's the hookup, Sid?" And Sid's like, "Negatory. I didn't find any." I was like, "Oh."
Yeah.
So
That was 4th round. That
that's
was
our fourth and final round.
So now we're just kind of shooting the shit.
We are just hanging out. We've
Yeah.
got about a minute left in the round. So, Mason here is probably what are you getting any intel that you're going to use in this weekend's PPTQs? Are you going to be like,
Yeah, I gotta watch out for the Aurelias. No, I'm not worried about Aurelias with whatever deck I'm playing, which I've already told everyone.
Yeah. Yeah. So now if you face somebody
Yeah,
who's
I probably shouldn't
watched this
have told
stream, you're
everyone.
doomed.
Everyone's
because
watching this stream. They're gonna come to whatever one we're going to.
he doesn't even know what
and-
PPTQ he's going to.
I think someone mentioned it in the chat.
He may be coming to my PPTQ, which it's going to be at Chicago Clubhouse if you're in
Yeah.
the area. The Chicago Clubhouse is neither clubhouse nor is it in Chicago, but it's a fine store. We're going to be having a modern PPTQ on Sunday, so hope to see many of you guys there. So
My main concern is what I'm gonna do tonight. Whether
Are you driving
if I'm
back?
I don't know. I mean, I want to. The whole reason I came was to pick up the cards for the deck so that my friends and I can play it at our local modern event tomorrow.
okay.
So I feel like it would be kind of a waste if I stayed today and didn't make it back for that. I have some work I gotta do tomorrow anyway, so. You're right. You would think so, Commodore Squawks, but it turns out that Aurelia is the trump card in the Infect match.
As we saw.
I have never been so surprised to see a card in Modern. It's at the 2-1 table as Aurelia. Just like, I don't think it's as unreasonable as it seems, because like you're getting fast mana. You can turn 3 Aurelia. And what do you do against? How do you beat turn 3 Aurelia?
She led that war,
Yeah.
and she led it well.
If you have a Noble Hierarch, you can get 2 Exalted triggers off of it. Do you folks know how good that is?
Mark, I will in fact be judging at Grand Prix Cleveland, so I'm hope to see you there if you are judging or playing. It should be a fun event. It's going to be limited, right? Limited just before we get Dragons of Tarkir into the mix.
So people will be really sick of what is it, Favorite Forge cons?
Yeah,
Actually, I'm not a big draft fan, but from watching the drafts, they've been really entertaining.
I've liked this format quite a bit. And I'm looking for, of course, forward to Dragon shaking things up some more. I'm curious to see what our new mechanics are going to be for that haven't been yet incorporated in Fate Reforged. Looking to see more of Bolster and Dash, and I'm keeping my fingers crossed that Dragons of Tarkir has the other fetch lands that we've been lacking.
I think we all are. I especially am, because I traded away all of my Zendikar fetches to build Death and Taxes and Legacy.
So
that's a good question. Judge, do you have an answer to this question?
Okay, so if you copy a spell that's played with Kicker, it copies, I believe, all the characteristics of the spell, so it will be kicked as well. So I believe that answers that question. What else we got?
I don't know. Sling them at us. Come on, judge questions. I'll see if I can guess them, and then Raul will I don't know about tell me I'm wrong.
I don't know about all judge questions. The trouble with working a whole day and then commentating is that oftentimes one's brain is mush by the end of it. So I am probably about operating at 70% efficiency at best.
Fair.
At the moment. Plus, this is a really weird stream because we rarely get like bathroom breaks and such. So
that's true. If you want to take a break, I can take over. Throw that away.
Ooh, that's a good question. If you cast Giga Drowse with Replicate when there's a Chalice of the Void, let's see what these cards do.
I think that it will not.
Giga Drowse, when you play that's...
No, they're not cast. They're copied. So the original one will be countered, but the other ones will not be countered.
I believe that is correct. So, can you use an advocacy comp RL?
It's not
Mark, I boycott all humility opalescence questions as a matter of course. So sorry, sir. We will not be dealing with that. A quick bathroom break, and then I guess we'll sign up. I guess we should find out what our standings are and such.
Yeah, we can see what won the whole thing. If a flanker attacks in a band, you lose because you're playing a garbage boy deck. Because there's no good cards with flanking or banding, unfortunately. Sorry to say. That's all that I know on the matter, though. I don't know what happens mechanically. All I know is the end result. What happens if you alt Karn in a Shahrazad subgame? Then you restart that subgame, as far as I'm aware. What really happens is that you, again, are DQ'd for playing Shahrazad in any constructed format. Looks like Raul is going to get some final standings so we can see what won our modern tournament. Or more likely what drawed into first place in our modern tournament. Which Urborg is better, the Legends one or the Planar Chaos one? Now that's a really good question. I'm gonna say this one.
How'd the stream go?
Done pretty well.
Good.
We'll get some interesting decks up. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's this one. This Urborg is better because you can remove Swamp Walk from a Street Wraith that someone has living ended, and then you will be able to block that Street Wraith.
Yes, Urborg.
Much more powerful.
Urborg, not the Tomb of Yawgmoth, is not the card I would choose. So, guys, we are basically calling
we're
a
done
wrap
for the
here.
night.
I hope you guys enjoyed it.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. It's been a lot of fun.
Mason,
I had a good time. I'm gonna be having even more fun, either driving home or whatever happens to me tonight.
Mason Linney,
yeah,
up for whatever.
Right. Up for coming down to commentate a Magic event, my first commentating. I had a good time. I would definitely do this again. I hope to get some of the stores near me to do a Magic event so that we can do commentary there. That'll be fun. And yeah, Raul is the man.
You
He's
guys
our
are
man
too
on
kind. It's been a blast. We got to see some really great matches.
Yeah.
Had a lot of fun. I hope you guys got some ideas from what you saw for your own games. And with that, I'm Raul Mowat. This is Mason Linney. Thanks so much on behalf of MTG Card Market and WUBRGxyz. We'll see you next week. Or we may not.
I will not see you next week. I am not.
Maybe Cindy or somebody else.
Once in a week is
you.
good, but
Once a month.
Once a month, yes, maybe. We'll see.
All right. Take care, y'all.
Signing off. Bye-bye.